Hello, everyone, and welcome to another race in round one of the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Any Percent No Mount Skips tournament. We've got a great one for you today between finalist from last year, New Amber, Kerbis54, and Leggy Starscream. With me, we've got fellow commentators Greta
Hello.
and Spider.
Hello.
All right. Very exciting matchup here. All three runners are going to be running on Pikachu. It's our first tournament match where all three races are on the same game.
We love to
So
see
it should be exciting. Well, some of us love to see it.
Do we? Do we really?
Yes.
No, this will be a really good race. This is probably one of the most anticipated races. Kerbis being the top pot 2 runner. Leggy putting out a strong showing last year in the tournament, as well as Amber, like I said, making it to finals last year. So really going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. These are like some of my favorite people in the history of ever. So it's great to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good one.
All right, and we are off. All right, so like I said, all three runners going to be on the Pikachu version. Pikachu is generally considered a little bit more race friendly, just because you don't have to worry about stats as much as you do on the Eevee side of things. Even though both games are probably about the same, time, it's just probably a bit better for races.
We start off with the most important question of the run, which is what character you're picking. And I'm glad to see after the 3-boy race earlier, now we have 2 girls. So things are looking up.
Yeah,
a little more balance.
We have 3 different player models as well.
Yeah.
It's a girl 3, a girl 1, and a boy 1.
Yeah, it makes no difference, but it makes a difference to all of us watching.
In our hearts.
All right, so if you've never seen a Pokemon Let's Go run before, it's going to look a little bit different than other Pokemon speedruns because there's going to be a heavy dose of catching Pokemon. You'll see next to everyone's names on the layout, they have a 1 out of 50 right now. That means they've caught 1 Pokemon and they have to get 50 in order to beat the game. It's in order to get into one of the gyms, you have to have 50 Pokemon. So that'll be sort of the main thing we're focused on throughout the game. Battles matter too, but it's really mostly about the catches.
Yeah, the catching in this game is definitely, I think, the reason people like playing this game for speedruns. It makes it actually interesting, and each run is unique. And so it's really exciting to see what is going to end up happening here.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's almost like a randomizer without being a randomizer.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the speedrun.
Yeah, everyone pretty much has like 50-ish Pokemon that they have in mind that they like plan on catching in any given run. But really there's, probably about 65 to 70 like realistic options. Some of them are better than others, but like there are actually a large number of Pokemon that you could end up seeing on any given run. It just sort of depends on how things go.
So one thing that we can do, because this is Pika version, is we will be able to see if they are a neutral nature right here.
Yeah, so it looks like Amber and Kerbis are not.
It's
Oh, we have no
26.
neutral natures.
No neutrals. All right. We could be in for some spicy Pokemon then.
Yeah. Something like Spider was saying that you can do in Pikachu version, you can't do in Eevee version just because the stats don't line up correctly for it. Is you can look at the CP value, combat points value, in the upper right-hand corner of the catch. And if it is 27, it means your Pikachu is a neutral nature. And if it is 26, it means it is any of the other non-neutral natures. Stats for the starter Pokemon are guaranteed to be maximum, so you're always going to have the same stats. It's just your nature could be a little bit different. So that's sort of how you can tell like a good Pikachu versus, you know, one that's maybe not so good.
I think Leggy has a backup, so Leggy will probably check in the lab, I assume. But do you think the other two will?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yep, so Amber's on their way. Kerbis on his way. Let's see if Leggy checks. Oh, Leggy's not checking
No.
either. All
Interesting.
right.
Okay.
Honestly, I respect it. Pikachu is... If you've seen the other races, you've seen a little dose of Pikachu as well. But Eevee primarily is... The stats matter a lot just because you are using that Eevee for the first hour and a half of this game. And you have like a little bit of help, but really not much. So how good your Eevee is really kind of determines how good your fights are going to go. For Pikachu, you use the Pikachu for that first hour and a half, but you're going to have a little bit of help. So you don't have to do everything with just Pikachu.
He gets by with a little help from his friends.
All right, so even though we need to catch a lot of Pokemon, we don't want to be catching anything on Route 1. Catching is going to be the main source of experience in the run, so catching things at opportune times when they are higher level is generally considered better. There are going to be a few areas where we catch like purely for experience, and the fact that we need 50 Pokemon is just an added bonus. But if we were to catch something here, it would give us like maybe a half a level or something. Nothing major.
Yeah, this game is very much focused on the catching. And because I'd say a lot of people describe this game as like it's a remake of Pokemon Yellow, but then it has Pokemon Go catching mechanics, the mobile game. And if you know anything about Pokemon Go, the battling in that game is like tap your screen, and that's the gameplay. So catching is a lot more emphasized in this game, and that's where all of your experience is really going to be coming from.
So I don't know much about Pikachu. How much of their nature can we scout out in the Rival 1 fight?
Yeah, so the biggest things that we can scout out here are if we do what looks like about a third to a little bit over a third of Eevee's health, it's most likely plus special. So that is not plus special on Amber's side. And then likewise, if we take 4 damage from the Eevee, that likely means we are plus defense. And that's really all you can tell from this fight. And it looks like none of them have any of those telltale signs.
It's a mystery. Yeah, we're hoping for not minus attack or minus special attack, but again, it doesn't matter that much, and these racers will more than likely just take whatever and they'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
All right, so one advantage Pikachu does have over Eevee comes in terms of reset efficiency. So the rival in the game obviously has the opposite starter from you, and the Eevee on the rival gives 1 more experience point than the Pikachu on the rival would. And because of that, in Pikachu version, you will level up to level 6 on this fight, and in Eevee, you have to wait all the way until the next fight. So Pikachu runners can see their stats here. Eevee runners, a lot of the time, will actually just check their nature, waste that 5 seconds just to see what it is, just so they don't have to go all the way into Viridian Forest to see what nature they have.
Those were some spawns that Leggy there. We were trying to get at Leggy.
Yeah. All right. So
avoiding wild Pokemon is certainly an aspect here.
All right, that looks like minus special. I didn't see what the plus was for Amber. Kerbis looks neutral, maybe minus special defense. I don't remember those numbers all that well. And Leggy, we have definitely minus defense. I think it's.
I don't know
plus
Pika's
defense.
stat line, but that looked like minus defense to me.
Oh, Kerbis was plus attack. Okay. And Amber is adamant. Wait, no, not. Yeah, attack looked normal. I thought the special attack was bad. But anyways. Alright, so Amber catching a Pokemon before entering the forest, completely ignoring what I said earlier about the catches before the forest being low level and we don't want them. Seeing a bug before the forest is pretty good because there is an extra modifier to the catch rate where before you've entered Viridian Forest, your catch rate is incredibly increased to the point where, you know, catching something is like 90% or higher, even if you don't hit the circle, which there's a lot of things you can do to influence the catch rate, and hitting the circle is one of them. So a lot of people will opt to catch something outside the forest that we want to catch anyways and evolve. So.
You got a Pikachu on screen for Kerbis.
Yeah, I saw one on Amber's too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, there we go. And Pikachu has the benefit of just always one-shotting this last trainer, so never in danger of being sanded, like can happen to Eevee. I assume it's still a one-shot even if you're minus special attack.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I would assume so, but you never know. The starter Pikachu and starter Eevee have boosted stats compared to their normal counterparts, so you know, it's very possible that it's not a one-shot, but I bet it is. All right. So we see Kerbis using a lure here. Somebody want to explain how lures work?
Yeah, so lures... Go ahead.
Okay. So the lures are good for multiple reasons. One being that, as you might expect, it's similar to how it works in Pokemon Go. They make Pokemon spawn more often. That's a Butterfree, nice. So we want that, so we can find more stuff that we need. But they also make Pokemon spawn at one level higher than the normal maximum is for that area. So that means they'll be a higher level, that means they're closer to evolving, and that is good for us because we want to get as many Dex Sanctuaries as we can, as quick as possible.
And they give more experience as well for being a higher level. Which,
Sure.
since most of our XP is coming from catches, that's very important to try to maximize.
Yeah. And speaking of more experience, Amber actually catching a Kakuna. Normally, the sort of standard thing to do here in the forest is catch Caterpie and Weedle, because they both evolve twice pretty quickly. So that's 6 catches almost immediately. And then catch the version-exclusive grass Pokemon. So Oddish in Pikachu version or Bellsprout in Eevee. One thing you can do...
Why is there another Butterfree?
Oh my god. Butterfree's 1%, by the way. But one thing you can do if you catch like the bug outside, like Amber did, and I think Leggy did as well, is you can catch the second evolution of it inside the forest and box the original. So that way you don't have to go through the evolution. You get the same Pokemon for roughly the same amount of time, but you get way more experience because of it. So especially knowing that Amber is minus special attack, probably wants that little bit of extra experience just to help out some things.
Someone's gonna catch one of these Butterfree. You don't have a choice. There's just too many of them.
Yeah, something you also have started to see a little bit already is the 2 controller strategies, which is you can bring in the second Joy-Con and use both of them at the same time. And for catching, that gives you more experience and a higher catch rate as well. So even though there's like kind of a longer animation because of it, it is completely worth it. It makes everything so much better. And we'll also be doing that some for battles, not as much, really only if you can save like a lot of turns, because otherwise it's really laggy and just not usually worth it, but we'll see it some for sure.
And Leggy is unfortunately stuck in a Route 2 roulette, needs to get Oddish, and actually Amber is also entering Route 2 roulette. Oh no. Oddish is hard required because we need a grassed Pokemon in order to enter Brock's gym. So you would never want to, but technically you can get away without catching... Oh, we got a Frick.
Oh.
You can get away without catching a bug, but you need a grass type.
Yeah, and Oddish is especially good as well. We will be using it for Brock, and a little bit after that too, even, since it has Absorb, and Geodude and Onix's special defense are completely horrible, so it's gonna destroy them, basically.
Yeah. Leggy getting an incredible amount of experience there on that Oddish. So Pokemon that you see in the overworld that have the red and blue sparkles, they are huge or tiny Pokemon, and those give about a 50% experience boost. However, there is a small percentage chance, we don't know the exact percentage, the rough estimate is like 10% of the time, they can be extra huge or extra tiny, in which case instead of a 1.5 times multiplier, you get a 4 times multiplier to the experience. And so that is why Leggy just got 845 experience on Route 2 of the game. But yeah, the Pokemon Route 2 is good. It has roughly the same Pokemon that can spawn. It does not have Bulbasaur, but it does have Rattata that can spawn compared to the forest. But everything is 2 levels higher. Instead of being level 7 like it is in the forest, it's level 9.
And so then here, entering Brock's gym is where we get our first instance of Pikachu getting help from other Pokemon. We're going to put Oddish in the front of the party and then use Oddish to beat the gym. A lot faster than having Pikachu do it.
Yeah. Pikachu can get through the same way Eevee does, which is you use double kick, you typically have to tail whip the Onix, and even then it's a 2-shot on both of them. But Oddish just destroys, like Greta was saying. The only downside, and we'll see if it happens to any of our runners, is Oddish will typically be slower than the Onix. And Onix does have Headbutt, which can flinch, so that is the one danger. But even then, unless you get flinched like 4 times in a row, like you're never going to die, it's just going to waste a turn.
And Leggy chose to stick around Route 2 for a little bit longer, get an extra catch. Early XP is nice to have, and so getting these early catches, if they're available, certainly does not hurt, especially a Rattata, because you can just pick up Eradicate later.
Yeah. Typically, you want to wait until a Pokemon can evolve in like 1 level if you want both the pre-evolution and the evolution. But in some cases like Rattata and Raticate, where they're easy enough to catch both versions, we're actually going to see the same thing with Geodude and Graveler later on. And that second stage Pokemon is just worth so much experience later on. It ends up being worth it to catch the first one, not evolve it, and then catch the second one as well.
Except for, in the case of our Oddish, we are going to be keeping that for quite a long time, despite it being pretty low level and pretty far from evolving. Reason for that, again, we are going to use it a little bit more, but even still, we just want it there so that we need to have 2 Pokemon in our party in order to use the 2 controller strategy. So just having that always there means we can always 2 controller.
And that just makes catches so much easier and rewarding by having that option always available to us.
All right, so we have Leggy finishing up Brock. The other 2 runners moving on past Brock as well, going to the mart here. At the mart, buying a few very important items. The first are Great Balls. Just obviously a lot of catching in the run, so we want to make sure that we are maximizing our catch rate as much as possible. We're also going to be buying some X items, which will be useful. If you've ever seen any Pokemon speedrun, you've seen plenty of X items. Cool thing about X items in this game is they are the new version of X items, starting in Generation 7. They are 2 stages, increased rather than only 1. However, they are still Gen 1 prices, so they are way cheaper than they're supposed to be, which is very nice. And then just a couple of extra healing items, mainly status ailment healing items. So
Yeah, X items are one of the things that you cannot call a scam in this game.
One of the few things. Yeah, and this route is really nice for Pikachu version because they have access to both the Sandshrew and Mankey bonus catches, while Eevee version is just looking for Ekans here.
Sandshrew is so cute.
Sandshrew, annoyingly, is one of the only Pokemon that has a attack animation that's like 1.5 cycles long. It actually has 2 different attack animations. So a lot of times you'll see runners, well, all right, a lot of the top runners you'll actually see be very aggressive with their throws and throw out a lot of Pokemon immediately. But the more standard, like comfortable way to do it is to wait for a Pokemon to attack and then throw after the attack. And so probably like 90% of the attack animations in the game are exactly 1 cycle long. So wherever the circle was when the attack started is where it's going to be at the end. So you can time your throw to still get an excellent afterward. Some of them are a little bit shorter, which is kind of nice, as long as you know about them. But yeah, some of the ones where the attack animation is longer just hurt really bad.
Yeah, I simply do not know attack cycles. I treat each Pokemon as a new experience for me.
One of the best ones to know that it's shorter in Pikachu version is the Oddish attack. Oddish's attack is a little bit less than 1 cycle. So if the attack happens when the circle hits its smallest, you can actually throw and hit the excellent before it goes through the next cycle. Similar thing for Nidoran female, actually. All right, so going into Mount Moon, you'll see the runners still using Oddish, even though we are past Brock, and that's just because the first trainer here with the Bellsprout isn't too bad, but the second trainer has a Sandshrew, and Sandshrew and later on Rhyhorn are Pikachu's worst nightmares. Pikachu just has nothing good to deal with Sandshrews and Rhyhorns, so we're going to keep Oddish as our attacker for now. A lot of times you'll see them actually do the fight before going down into this room where Amber is. You might see Kerbis do it coming up here. It really depends on how good your Oddish is. If it's fast enough to outspeed the Sandshrew because it has Sand Attack, some stuff like that.
And then let's see what Amber gets in the basement of Mount Moon.
This is not
Bats and
great.
rocks. Oh,
All
we got a
right, there we
Paris. All right.
Yeah, Mount Moon, the goal leaving Mount Moon is to be level 15 on your starter Pokemon. It is a requirement to get into Misty's gym, but there are ways, if you don't hit 15 leaving Mount Moon, there are ways to get there. And the 3 main catches we are looking for are Paris, Geodude, and Clefairy. So, all pretty good experience, but you have to get all 3 of them, otherwise it doesn't really help. You can get lucky with some glowing Pokemon or some other unmentioned pink Pokemon that may or may not show up.
And that level 15
really
requirement is the other reason why it's maybe nice to get an extra catch or 2 before Brock picking up a rat, just because that makes your Mount Moon a little bit more flexible. So one thing that the runners will also be doing while they're in the basement is checking for double moonstone. When the game's clock rolls over to midnight, there's a, we believe, 50% chance that the moonstone respawns. So at the beginning of the run, they all set their clocks to roll over to the next day approximately while they're in this room. And so ideally, they pick up the moonstone, do some stuff in the room, and then hopefully get another moonstone. If you don't, it's not a big deal, but if you do, that's a fast free catch for your 50. And there we go for
Nice.
Amber.
Yep. I think Leggy was literally 1 second too late to get the double moonstone. Oh, actually, I think I saw Leggy was setting her clock to 11:32, so I think it actually... She has a couple more minutes. Generally, if you do, most top runners will set it to 11:34, which gives you 26 minutes from starting the clock, but you have to get into the game and everything. So for the purposes of the race, we always start with a 1-minute countdown. So generally, the moonstone reset would be right at the 25-minute mark. So, Amber leaving the catching room. Still has to fight Josh here. But
These double evolutions, so exciting.
No Clefairy, unfortunately, for Amber so far.
Yeah. Clefairy's the big chunk of experience, so we'll hope, for their sake, that we can find one.
Oh, double moonstone for Kerbis as well.
Wow.
Alright, so and we're going to do some party management. One of the really nice things about Pokemon Let's Go, and it's kind of continued into future games as well, is you can access your PC from anywhere. So we can do a lot of things, minimize the amount of like bogus levels that we're getting, like not to point out anything, but like on Kerbis's side, Beedrill hit level 11, like that's not necessary, right? So the more that we can minimize that, the better. So you'll see runners do kind of like what Leggy just did, completely clear out the party and...
Oh my god.
This could fix experience.
Let's see how it goes. This is so sad there's ads right now. Oh.
Alright. Alright.
Nice.
Here's Clefable. Clefable is the hardest thing to catch here in Mount Moon. It's not required. Luckily, actually, for catch rate purposes, the lure wore off right before the spawn, so instead of being level 11, it was only level 5, which probably helped the catch rate quite a bit, but obviously nerfed the amount of experience. All right, so Amber should definitely. All right, actually, high five in the nap for Drowsy. No, what I was gonna say is Amber should be great on experience. Probably gonna hit level 15 like right as they leave Mount Moon. Leggy just hit level 15, which is really nice. Finishing up her catches. Kerbis is only level 13, so needs to figure something out.
Yeah, no Clefairy for Kerbis either.
I know it's a little bit different for Pika runners just because you typically need like one of the Niddos at least. But there's nothing that feels worse than getting double Moonstone and not finding a Clefairy. So you're like, am I even going to be able to use both of my Moonstones? Because there are 4 Pokemon that can use a Moonstone, but they are not all guaranteed to show up. So it is totally possible to get 2 Moonstones and only 1 Pokemon that evolves with it.
It is funny to get double Moonstone and Clefable, though.
Yeah, that's the AOP special. That's what AOP used to be before we learned the clock reset stuff.
I remember.
So Kerbis doing something kind of interesting here. Is that what you're going to mention?
No, I was just going to mention that they're all at the same catch count right now. So yours thing is probably more interesting.
No, it's one of the only times that you can look at the runners and be like, who's ahead right now? Because all their catch counts are the same. No, I was going to say Kerbis bought 2 X attacks instead of only 1. The standard route buys 1. But Kerbis did buy 2, which allows him to X attack on that fight. Making it a 3-turn instead of the 4-turn like we just saw for Amber. Kerbis also picking up the Dome Fossil. I don't know how chat feels about that one.
Praise Helix.
Yeah, so here is our first double battle, even though it doesn't use the second controller, but it's fine. And basically the strategy you're going to see with pretty much all 2-controller fights is you're going to be attacking with one of your Pokemon and then using an X item with the other to put it onto the one that's attacking. It's nice and simple.
Yeah, so in Pika you use 1 Thunder Shock on each and try to acid down them both, right?
Yeah, typically. Amber is doing sort of the more typical fight you'd see on the Eevee side because they have minus special. So should hopefully see go down here.
And hopefully Kerbis finds something in the next 5 seconds. Okay!
Wow!
The fact that both of them are Clefable and no Clefairy is really something special.
And this one's level 10, so this one will be tougher to catch than the one Amber had. But obviously would be a better reward for experience. Let's see how it goes.
And unfortunately, that's more of what you expect from a Clefable catch.
Yeah, the other big pink thing you can get here is Chansey, and even though Chansey is better because it's got more experience, it is actually an easier catch than Clefable.
You can see Curvis reading the chat because actually using double Great Balls instead of Great Ball and Pokeball. We learned not that long ago that does actually change things, and yeah, he was able to catch it now, so thanks actually.
Experience route fixed.
Yeah, exactly. And Amber got Sandshrew and Leggy got a Mankey, so I think... Have they all gotten the bonuses?
I think Kerbis only got one of them.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, don't... Okay, and Leggy didn't get Shrew, so never mind, I take it all back.
Alright, so on Amber's screen we can see Pikachu learning Zippy Zap. Zippy Zap is one of the partner moves for Pikachu. It's the only one we'll see in this run. If we were on Eevee, we'd actually see 4 of them. But Pikachu only gets 3 of them total, and 2 of them, one of them is way too late to be useful, and the other one is just not useful for the time of the game that it's in. So Zippy Zap is what we have. It is a very good move. It is +2 priority, and it always critical hits, so it is very nice.
What was it that we were told it's called in Spanish? Like Pika Turbo or something?
Yeah. Zippy
Yeah.
Zap is
I love that.
Pika Turbo.
That is an excellent name.
It appears there's a prediction for April see a Squirtle. Not to skew the vote, but I would not count on that.
I mean, last year we saw 2 Squirtles the
It did
entire
happen,
tournament, I
yeah.
think. So with some help from some pink blobs, all 3 runners are able to get into Misty's gym, no problem. Which is, once again, no problem for Pikachu, just because it gets to Pika Turbo its way through.
Yeah, it is possible for the Starmie coming up to be a range, depending on your attack. Luckily, none of our runners have minus attack, which would obviously make that way worse.
Yeah, but you do have the option to pull out the second controller if it's looking sketchy, so it should pretty much always be okay in the end. Yeah, there for Amber, it was guaranteed to die. Amber's at 37 attack, and that is when it is guaranteed, so yay.
I'll be honest, I forgot that it was guaranteed crit. And so when I saw Amber crit, I was like, oh no, that works too. Wait a second. I have never touched Pika in my life. I don't know why I'm here.
Alright, all 3 runners getting the range or otherwise, depending on their Pikachus. Like I mentioned at the very start, depending on where your Go power ends up, you may or may not have a range there. I guess I'm thinking of the last race. I don't think we talked about AVs yet this run.
I don't think we did. Basically, every time one of your Pokemon levels up, it's going to get a extra point in a semi-random stat. I say semi-random because it is random, but it is weighted by your characteristic and nature. And then that stat repeats on a 10-level cycle. So wherever that bonus point went at level 6, it's going to go into that same stat at 16. So at this point, if our runners have been tracking their AVs, they will know what their entire cycle is.
It's generally pretty tough in this game to like completely accurately track it, just because you go long stretches without seeing an in-battle level up. But if you can generally get like an idea of where they have gone, it can allow you to sort of make some decisions later on in the run. It matters a little bit less in Pikachu than it does in Eevee. In Eevee, it's very nice to know, like, do I outspeed this thing? Do I go for this range? Stuff like that.
So, what's our bit for Nugget Bridge today?
Oh no.
Everyone do slots.
It'll probably be more exciting than the bridge. Actually, bridge in Pikachu is like... I wouldn't say it's interesting, but there's like one fight that can be a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, now would be the time to run an ad.
Done.
But yeah, here on Nugget Bridge, we're going to see one of the Pikachu arch nemesis Pokemon in Sandshrew in the fight after this. There's typically two ways that you can handle the fight. You can either do it with Pikachu and just headbutt, hope you flinch, and headbutt again, which looks like what Amber's going to be doing. Alternatively, you can do it as a 2-controller fight and KO the Sandshrew using the Oddish, and then on the Pikachu's turn, if you're not at full health, you can heal up the Pikachu. So you kind of use it as, you know, a way to make the fight a little bit faster, safer, as well as give you a bit more health for future fights. But looks like Amber's through.
Yeah, I think Amber opted for this way because I got poisoned, so I had to go into the bag anyway.
But now we get to see the other strat. It's like they're listening.
Interestingly, all 3 catch counts are once again the same, actually.
Yeah.
You don't normally see that in races.
Especially, 2 of the runners have a Clefable. Oh, man. But yeah, luckily, aside from the end game, when the fights are more interesting, this is like the one big stretch of the run that doesn't have much catching, so it's just kind of played through the script. Both versions have a couple of things that can lose you a little time. There's really not much that can happen that can save you time. You just kind of have to get through this section, and then once you're out of Cerulean City, things get really interesting, especially on Pikachu version.
That said, there is a small opportunity for catches right after this rocket fight, and I know Kerbis has talked about just wanting every early catch available, so I think he'll just go after anything he sees within reason. And by that I mean Venonat, because everything else that you would catch later, I suppose. So never mind. I'm thinking of Eevee, where there's at least one other option to catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know back in the day we used to catch early Psyduck a lot more than you see nowadays. So, oh, there's a Venonat. Are we seeing Amber? Amber's going for it.
Yep.
All right. One of the huge benefits, and I cannot state this high enough, one of the huge benefits of evolving Oddish is that you have 2 controllers for this very moment. Trying to catch Venonat with 1 controller is atrocious.
Well, in that case, Amber didn't even get the circle, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
just 2 controllers was enough to carry through the catch.
I mean, I think Amber still has the double great balls from the Clefable catch too.
I thought it was great, Pokey.
Oh, they may have switched it back because of the Mankey
Yeah.
or the Sandshrew, whatever it was that they caught after Moon. Very nice trainer skip there. Probably the easiest of the 4 trainer skips that we have. Actually, no. The 17 skip's easier. I don't know. One of the easier 2, I should say. You basically can just split their vision. Trainers in this game have kind of like, you can think of them as having vision that's like a laser pointer. Like it's that thin. So if you can squeeze in between their vision like that, you can get right past them.
Well, and speaking of going through the trainer vision, Kerbis went for Knock Skiff and got it no problem.
Very nice. Small optimization you can do there to skip waiting for a spinner. But it does require you to get a little close to somebody's vision. Which on Eevee would not be too bad to hit, because I think he has like an Onyx or a Geodude or something, but on Pika would be pretty bad.
Now it's time to ditch Bill. That's why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is actually our PSR Marathon meme Ditch Bill submission. So
Catching Clefable in a ditch Bill run is a choice.
everyone is so close right now.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is very close. Kind of wild, actually, at this point still.
And then I can't wait for Route 10 and Route 6 to just destroy these catch counts. Someone's going to have like a 37 exit tunnel. Someone's going to have a 24.
Oh no.
Everything changed when the rock tunnel attacked.
Any Squirtles on the way back?
There's an Oddish. Was that jumping?
Yeah, I think it was the jumping Oddish.
I gotta say, I liked the nameplate covering it, so it was like
Yeah,
even more
right, that was-
suspense. It was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, we
There's
found
a
a Squirtle.
Yeah, that's the Squirtle that we would have seen.
Good eye, Fury. Okay, so then we just have 2 more cutscenes, and then we are at our next catching section, where Pika specifically is looking for one of 2 things, specifically, because it needs a partner for some upcoming fights. Growlithe is the standard catch, but an Abra into Kadabra also works quite well.
Oh, hello. The Abra.
Yeah, Route 5. Unfortunately, Route 5 is just like too slow to go through the grass because you have to hop over every ledge.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see something good like that, and it'd be like, darn, if only this run I decided to do that.
Of course, we have to mention the kissing cutscene.
I wasn't going to.
I know that Amber would like it if I did, so that's why I did.
I like how we held strong and didn't mention Detective Pikachu in that cutscene, but then we instantly went into the kissing cutscene.
Hey, we can't let people get too many bingos on their commentary bingo cards.
Exactly. All right, so Amber heading down into the underground tunnel to make their way to Vermilion City. There are 3 money items in the underground. We're only going to pick up 1, this nugget here. The other 2 are random what they are, and so it's just unreliable to pick them up. If you waste the 5 seconds to pick them up and it's a pretty wing, you feel really sad.
Yeah.
And then also picking up a lure. Like Spider was saying, this route is very important for peak aversion. You really want to make sure you get a Growlithe or an Abra. Pidgey can work as well, and then you can, if all else fails, do with nothing. But you're really hoping to see one of those puppies. Like that.
There's one. And
Yay.
okay, wow. We go 3 for 3.
Oh.
No, nothing spawning. Ooh.
Ooh,
I think
also
I think there was a
seen
puppy to the right.
Yeah, I saw orange, I think,
Okay.
but also the epic Abra.
Yeah. Abra's a fantastic catch. It is only about 5% on the few routes that it's available. But it's pretty easy to catch. It is a single level evolution. It can be used if you don't get a Growlithe, which is really nice. And the only caveat is you do have to approach it from behind. If you try to come at it head on, it will disappear on you. So you do have to either get lucky with the way it spawns in, or take some pretty creative movement paths to get there.
Yeah, the worst is when the first frame you see of an Abra is when it's teleporting away.
Alright. There's a Growlithe.
Oh, there's multiple.
There's
There's a whole pack of them.
and one of them disappeared. Oh god. What's happening? Alright, so Amber got everything they're looking for. Very nice.
Other step
That's-
passes.
That's stressful. I like
So
winced. Oh, nice.
Ooh, Abra for Kerbis. We have 2 Clefables and 2 Abras in the same run. Good lord. But yeah, so the trainer skip here, we're about to see Leggy do.
Ooh,
Just barely too far left. There is a bit of space in between the 2 visions that you can cut right through, so it is probably the hardest of the skips we were saying earlier. The other one is one of the easier ones. This one's definitely the hardest one. So
Yeah, I find that it's harder. Like, you saw there, Leggy was in the grass on the right and, like, came in from the right and had to, like, do it, like, turn. I think that was probably why she was over a little too far left. If she had gone, like, straight above, it probably would have been easier. But
I actually
it's
come
one
up
of
from a
those things,
diagonal
honestly.
angle from the grass, and that's how it works for me.
yeah, everyone has their own unique ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
Kerbis was
Well,
fine, and then little
Yeah.
right at the end.
I think
The
he
the
was,
puff
like,
stopped him
walking.
from moving.
He was walking and then he, like, ran a tiny bit and it set him off course.
That random wild Jigglypuff saved Kerbis a little bit of time at least.
Nice crit. That was, I don't believe that's a guaranteed kill, so. Crit's very helpful.
But yeah, at least the good news for them is now Leggy and Kerbis both don't have to think about it again. Except, I guess they have to remember which one they hit. But
I feel like it's when you fail the skip, it's traumatizing enough that you're not supposed to forget which one. Did we talk about this shop?
We did not. You want to go
Okay.
for it?
Yeah, so one interesting thing here is that we're selling the nuggets and the fossils just for a lot of extra money for all of the items that we're going to be buying that are going to last us for quite a while in the run. But the other interesting thing that we do here is we sell all of our Pokeballs because, one, it's just more money to buy actual useful items with. But with the updated catch formula information that we got, we now know that it actually matters what Pokeball you have in your offhand, which is why it was relevant for Kerberos to go to double Great Ball on the Clefable catch. And so as a result of that, just selling all of our Pokeballs and buying more Great Balls puts us in a kind of a nice menu optimization where we're going to have a Great Ball in our main hand and a single Premier Ball in our offhand. The Premier Ball gets used up, and then we're down to double Great Balls without having to do any extra menuing.
Yeah, and here for the rival fight, we're basically always going to 2C because the Pidgeotto has Sand Attack, and we do not want to be hit by that unless we want to sit here for like 5 minutes and just keep missing over and over. But you can 1C it if you have Thunderbolt, but that's not exactly too likely, so...
Yeah, and you saw there on Amber's screen why the Growlithe was so powerful. That Pikachu was not going to be taking care of that Oddish quickly. And like every other Oddish, we can get poisoned. There's lots of stuff that can happen. So having a nice fire type that randomly has Flamethrower at level 17 is really useful.
I would like more of those, please.
Yeah.
When I'm doing routing.
So Amber picked up the first secret technique, which are the replacement for HMs in this game. But unlike HMs, they do not require gym badges to use. So, we have Misty's badge anyways if we needed it to use the cut HM. But because we don't need badges to use them, we are going to not fight another gym for quite a long time. This guy's going to be sitting here waiting for us to cut this bush for, like, over an hour.
Which is the other reason why we kind of delay our shops, like I was mentioning, so the shop lasts us for quite a while. Because the shop inventories update with more badges that we have. So up until we get more badges, it doesn't really make sense to do any more shopping.
And the shop between both versions are roughly the same. Like, it's the same stuff you buy. It's just, like, different quantities. The one main difference is Eevee version will buy a guard spec because of this next fight that we're about to see Amber do. Where there's an Eevee that likes to spam either Sand Attack or Growl, and you're using physical moves. Like, it's just really bad. Pikachu can get through it in one turn, but Eevee... unfortunately would require at least 2 turns to get through, so you kind of would be risking that Sand Attack. So we just use a guard spec. It's not too bad. So Route 9, another route that really needs help when it comes to Pikachu version. Again, we've got a Gloom we got to deal with, which if we can't deal with an Oddish, we definitely can't deal with a Gloom. As well as another Sandshrew on the next fight. So you ideally want to have your Growlithe hit level 18 before this Gloom. Looks like we're going to be just shy. We should get level 18 off of the Gloom, though. But even with the busted move Flamethrower, this is going to be a range for some Growlithe.
Ooh.
That's not even necessarily like a bad... Yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, it's not even like necessarily a bad Growlithe. That is just a range, even if you have like 25 IV or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair
it
enough.
sucks.
See, I just hear Pika players talking about how good it is, and so then when I see them miss a range, I just assume that it's unlucky.
Also, it was really funny to see Kerberos and Leggy both do the trainer skips having hit the other trainer from each other. Alright, so luckily, like I said, Amber hitting level 18 there on the Growl with this Sandshrew shouldn't be too bad. The Sandshrew can be a range. It also can awkwardly either outspeed you or speed tie you. And let me tell you, the first time I did a run of this, I lost the speed tie. It used dig. I won the speed tie, so I missed it. I lost the speed tie, so it used dig.
That's
it was
brutal.
Like 4 turns in a row, I got the wrong point.
And it also has sand attack, so it's just great.
Now that Amber has passed this trainer, we are at the next catching section, which, like the previous one, has a really essential catch for Pikachu. They're really looking to get a Nidoking ideally on this road, but a Nidoqueen works almost as well.
I didn't know Nidoking spawned on this round.
Okay.
It's too easy.
Okay, they're looking for ideally a Nidoran male. A Nidorino also works. I don't know, what's the... Would you prefer a Nidoran female or a Nidorino?
So this was actually a question in the earlier race.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not experienced enough. I feel like Queen is better
I think
than
so.
Reno without Poison Jab. Because that's the main difference, is if you catch a Nidorino, you don't have Poison Jab. Where if you catch a Nidoran male and evolve it, you do. Ooh,
Nice.
very nice.
So the other thing that we haven't talked about is that was relevant right here is catch chains. So once you have caught a Pokemon, no matter what Pokemon it is, if you are on a route where that Pokemon spawns, it is more likely to see more of those. So generally on this route especially, runners will stand around for a few seconds to get at least 3 of the 4 spawns on the route to occur. Because if you just start running at things and catching them right away, then you're more likely to see the same Pokemon. And so getting those spawns on the board before you get any of them allows for a little bit more likely chance that there's variety.
Yeah, the exact numbers, like, it's not like it's a ridiculous amount, but it's basically like 10% of the spawns get converted into your catch chained Pokemon. So if something is supposed to be 15%, 1.5% of that, or 10% of that, which would be 1.5%, would get turned into the catch chained Pokemon. So it's noticeable, if you're just playing the game, but not that high of a number.
Very good route for Amber so far. 3 of the Pokemon that you're looking for, plus a big rat. That's a nice chunk of EXP.
Yeah, there are 5 main evolution families that you want to catch on this route. The 2 Nidos, Spearow, Rattata, which you can either catch a Rattata earlier and catch Raticate here, or you can just catch Rattata anywhere, honestly. There's so many places it spawns. And then Krabby is the other one that's sort of never really planned, although one just spawned on Kerbeus' screen.
Krabby is not quite as good as the other ones, just because it takes 4 levels to evolve. And so that's just extra time it needs to spend in your party, gaining XP, leveling up, taking up time. But when it boils down to it, a catch is a catch, so you're still happy to see it no matter what.
Oh my.
rough.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
That is the Route 10 you don't want to see over on Leggy's screen.
Yeah, something that you are able to do is use the fight that is like a few steps down from here to respawn everything, or like make everything go away, and then when you go back up, more stuff can spawn. So we'll see if that ends up needing to happen here for Leggy.
Was that a Wumbo Krabby for Kerbis? 'Cause that seemed like a lot of XP.
I think it was, because I feel like he just taught Thunderbolt, and now he's 2 levels higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that runners can do, which I think we're about to see Leggy do, is use a repel, which will cause everything on screen to go away, and then use a lure to override that repel to make sure that things start spawning again. So, looks like it's working in Leggy's favor. She's going to end up grabbing at least one of these Nidoran males, and unfortunately, getting a lot of duplicate encounters, but hopefully something new will spawn here. Also, does she already caught Rattata. Okay, so
Yeah.
she doesn't want that one.
And Amber got a Krabby too, so that's everything that you want on this route. So really good route for Amber.
Ooh, and the Spearow is evolving, which just means clear party going into Rock Tunnel, which is very nice. Also, I was joking earlier when I said like the 37 exit tunnel and the 24.
I was
but
gonna
like,
make a comment
there's
about
catch
that.
rates right now, or catch counts.
Kerbis is just seeing the same 2 spawns over and over again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I honestly wonder if he'll go back up after the fight.
It looks like he's giving up based on the tracker unmarking Nidoran female.
Yeah, Route 10 is sort of when your catch route starts to get like pretty solidified. Until Route 10, you're kind of just like, this showed up, this didn't show up, that's fine, whatever. Once you get here, it's sort of like, all right, I need to figure out how I'm gonna get to 50, because if I leave here, like in Kerbis's case right now, right, doesn't have Nidoran female, doesn't have Spearow, doesn't have Rattata, but can get that anywhere. So it's like, can you make the 50 Pokemon work without Nidoran female and Spearow? I think he's fine, because I know he has the Abra from earlier and also got a Krabby, so I think he's probably okay, but you know, it's one of those things you got to start thinking about at this point in the run.
Yeah, and here we can see some of the more divergence in the catch. Well, before they all had the same catch count and were in slightly different spots. Now they're all in the same spot with different catch counts.
Also, I fully thought you were going to say, like, and here's now where we can see Lorelei. I was like,
Nope.
yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to keep people's bingo cards as empty as possible. So now it's time for Rock Tunnel. Really, we're looking for just more Pokemon, the two stage evolutions especially, just to get closer to our 50. But in addition to those, we really want Rhyhorn for our ride Pokemon, just so we can move around faster. And then Graveler is in a spawn. We got Geodude already, but then as I think Etiquette said earlier, Graveler is just a really nice chunk of XP. So getting one of those is really nice.
Yeah, luckily for us, though, on Pika, if we don't find a Rhyhorn, which Leggy's finding them for everyone,
like he needs to share.
yeah, we can always ride our Arcanine once Growlithe evolves, which I think is like, it's the strat now, so we're probably going to do that anyway, but it's there. We don't have to walk, sadly, the entire run until Route 17.
It feels so bad, because Eevee does not have the Arcanine backup.
Yeah.
Eevee just kind of has to deal with it, and it feels bad.
Decent spawns in the first room for all of our runners, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get like 5 Geodude spawns in the first room and
no kidding.
got off to a good start.
The second room, which once they get to the first ladder, you'll see is really where things like you'll get like 7 things to spawn at the same time because it's just such a wide open area. So that's usually where the bulk of your catching is going to be, but getting stuff early is definitely not an issue.
Yeah, and this part of the run is where you really start to see a lot of the party management strategy coming into effect, because you have to manage your party and everything that you need to evolve and things you need for fights and to ride them, and it's just a lot is happening all at once that you have to be thinking about constantly.
Yeah, you want
Oh my.
you want things in your party because you need them to evolve, but you don't want things to get too much experience if they don't have to evolve, and you want to combine your menus as much as possible. So like if you have to heal, you want to deposit at the same time, and there's a lot to think about. And so like even something as small as what Kerbis just did there, got the Graveler to spawn and also the Cubone, but is going to catch the Cubone first because the Graveler would be a lot of experience that the Cubone can actually use. So like even outside of the menuing, like just the order of when you do things is also important.
But along those lines, the game likes to troll you as well and spawn things in basically the opposite order sometimes. And yes, those are 2 more Rhyhorns on Leggy's stream, so those definitely should get shared.
Yeah, and all 3 runners are getting some form of a glowing Graveler. Graveler is the big experience bomb in Rock Tunnel. A standard glowing Graveler is 1800 experience. And the 4 times version is like 4800. Which you almost don't want sometimes because it's just gonna waste your time.
Still no Rhyhorn for Amber. I think Kerbis had one on screen.
Yeah.
This is also the part of the run, maybe a little bit more so in Eevee version, but there still are some cases of it in Pika where there's kind of like 2 or 3 different ways that you can do a lot of these fights, and you just kind of have to figure out what's the best case for my situation. Like the standard version of that Kangaskhan fight is to X special attack and hit it twice with Thunderbolt, but we just saw Amber go for headbutt and then double kick, which they could only do because their attack and their level is high enough. They also probably don't want to go for the double Thunderbolt because they're minus special. So like there's a lot of different things you kind of have to deal with. And it is a lot to keep track of for sure. But our runners are doing great so far.
Everyone's getting good spawns here.
I know.
Some of the Route 10s were a bit unfortunate, but I mean, looks like just everything that they need is coming up here.
Yeah, the one thing that's really missing is Amber just without a Rhyhorn so far. Leggy also needs some, like, Cubone, but has the whole rest of Rock Tunnel to get one. Actually, yeah, Leggy's still in the first room and has everything except Cubone.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm reading everything right, Kerbis should have everything. So could even see a potential repel here. Because you don't want to run into unnecessary encounters if you can help it. You don't have to. It's relatively easy to dodge for the most part, unless you get like an Onyx spawning directly in front of you.
I think Kerbis only bought one repel and had to repel trick 10.
Gotcha. So here's a great example of why Nidoking is such a good partner. Has the move Helping Hand, which, that just demolished the Rhyhorn, holy moly. That usually does take both hits of double kick, but I think we got a nice crit there.
Well, in that case, the Helping Hand just eliminated some animations or text. Yeah, so now at this point they're just going straight from fight to fight, essentially. I don't really, other than the aforementioned Amber's Rhyhorn, I don't really expect them to stop for additional catches.
Yeah, I think the only other catch people might consider is Charmander, but I don't think anyone's catch route is dire enough to, like, go out of their way for it. Charmander is not a pleasant catch, to say the least.
You think it's worth going for if you have your Ultra Balls?
If you have the Ultras, I could see going for it. Final room for Amber. Really want that Rhyhorn.
There's generally about 2 spawns that occur after this Picnicker, so pretty down to the wire now for Amber's Rhyhorn. And the classic Onyx spawn right on top of you. Kerbis had one of those earlier.
And nothing you can do about that. Alright, last stretch.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, luckily, we only really have to worry about it until Route 8, so right after this rival fight. Then you can grab the Firestone and then evolve the Arcanine. Rhyhorn does see some use in battle, but
okay, I was just about to ask that.
There are ways around it, yeah.
Yeah, because I know in Pika it's pretty unfortunate, not only from the ride Eevee. It's pretty bad not only from the ride perspective, but you're using Rhyhorn as your partner for a bunch of fights. So having to use Graveler as your secondary partner can still be fine, but it's not ideal by any means.
All right, so we've already seen a couple of 2-controller fights, but this is another great example of what you'll see in a typical 2-controller fight, where you've got one person attacking the other one, or one Pokemon attacking, they're not people, and the other one using X items. This one's a little bit unique in that Pikachu can actually deal with the Pidgeotto without any issue. So we use the turn 1 to actually beef up Nidoking rather than, or actually the traditional fight is to beef up Nidoking without dealing with it, or without attacking as Nidoking. But Amber actually having to do a slightly different version of the fight because they do not have, or they have minus special attack. So you'll probably see the more standard version here on Kerbeus' side. All right. So now that we are through the tower, or just about to be through the tower, we're going to make our way over to Celadon City and do the Rocket Hideout. This section is kind of like the Cerulean section in that there's not a lot of catching happening, but it's not as boring as the Cerulean section because a lot of these fights are not necessarily dangerous, but like you have to plan through a lot of them. You have to figure out, like I said earlier, like what's the best way for me to handle this fight depending on my stats and my current situation. So it's still quite an interesting section.
Mm-hmm. And the first fight that leads us into that section is a Clefairy that will just use Metronome, but since all of our runners got a Nidoran male as a catch, they have a Nidoking with Poison Jab, so we will not see any Metronome shenanigans today.
Too bad.
Yep. I want my content. But immediately after this trainer is a patch of grass with a Firestone, so I believe Amber will do the evolution right away for Growlithe.
I would think so. But they would know better than I do. I don't run Pika that much.
I don't know at all, so let's just see what happens.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, and you'll see the other two runners probably grabbing this Firestone as well, but not evolving right away. Even though it would be faster movement-wise to evolve right away, you actually want to use the Rhyhorn for a couple of fights. And, you know, just in terms of keeping the party managed and consolidating menus and things like that, it just makes more sense to evolve it a little bit later.
Yeah, just getting some. I mean, you don't get that much XP on it because of fight XP is so small. But just stopping as many level ups as you can, keep it in the box as long as possible.
Also, it is very important here that everyone went up a floor after the rival fight. You don't have to do that in Gen 1. You have to do it here, or you're gonna look real silly when you get to Celadon City, so...
There's another way you can look silly in Celadon City, and that is if you do not sync your nature. Hopefully we don't see that.
Yeah, in Pika, a lot of times runners will do it a little bit later, since on Eevee you're going in there to teach moves anyway right at the start, but Pika you don't do that, so...
I don't hate this from Amber. So Amber caught Eradicate earlier, but didn't actually have a Rattata. So they're grabbing this. Their party is full, so this is going straight to the box. No risk of it accidentally evolving. Gives them an extra catch. One thing that you're trying to do at this point in the run as well, like really from Route 10 through Rock Tunnel, is you're kind of balancing what we call even odd. Because every Pokemon you get for the most part is going to come in a pair. So you've got, you know, I'm catching Krabby and Kingler. I'm catching, what else is there? Like
Machop,
Machoke.
Yeah.
Most things are in pairs. The only ones that aren't in pairs are like Rhyhorn that you're like explicitly planning to get this one single Pokemon. If you end up with like, I have 51 planned or 49 planned, like you can't add or remove a pair of Pokemon to fix the count. So doing something like that Rattata there, or another one that works is if you haven't caught Pidgey yet, you can catch a Pidgey on Route 17 to get all the way up to Pidgeot, or you could deposit it after just Pidgeotto. So there are lots of ways to fix it, but it's just another one of those things you have to have in the back of your mind as you're going through your catches.
Yeah, and on the Eevee side, it's definitely something you need to think about, but it's not as big of a concern, because for most runs, you're going to have a Vulpix, and then you can evolve it to Ninetales, and you make that decision very late. So by the time you get the second Firestone that we come across in the run, you'll know if you need to fix your odd even. So it's generally fairly easy to do on the Eevee side, comparatively. But now it's time for Hideout, which is the gauntlet of fights that we mentioned. That's every fight has multiple versions, and just see what everyone decides to do on each one.
Yeah, and they don't just have multiple versions that you can choose from like mid-run, but there's also like these fights are different if you have a Nidoking versus a Nidoqueen versus you can get either of them somehow. So it's a lot to think about. Curb is getting probably the best version of that fight. Obviously got put to sleep, so it's gonna have to deal with that, but missing the poison jab range but getting the 30% to poison and then poison finishing off the Hypno is very nice. If you have a Nidoqueen has Crunch rather than Poison Jab, which this here is like the only fight where it is better to have Crunch.
Can confirm that everyone has synchronized. What that does is we can pay a lady to make it so that all of the Pokemon that we encounter from then until the switch clock rolls over into the next day, which we don't have to worry about, will all be whatever nature we decided it would be, in this case, modest, which is very important for the main that we will be using later.
Kerberos once again missing a Poison Jab range into Poison into KO. That's one way through the fights.
I mean, we make it sound like it's super lucky. Like, the fights are planned for that to, like, be an option, so.
It's still cool anyways.
It is very cool.
On the other hand, Amber has not gotten the same thing either time.
Amber got the poison last fight, but it didn't quite do
It
enough
didn't do
damage.
anything. Okay, fair enough.
Amber doing some party maneuvering. One of the main reasons you want to have Rhyhorn is for the fight after this one, which is going to be the return of the traditional double battles against Jesse and James, and the new way to do it involves using Rhyhorn with Drill Run, and you basically pump X attacks into it, and in the best case, it is a 2-turn fight, and that's like best case even without like lucky crits or anything like that. Like that's just you're planning to try and get a 2-turn fight. The old way to do it involved using Pikachu and essentially spamming Thunderbolt while healing the whole time, which is what we're likely going to be seeing Amber do. And importantly, Pikachu is not a very bulky Pokemon at all. And so you kind of want to have a Pokemon that looks mighty tasty to the Arbok on the other side. So the Arbok will attack that Pokemon instead of Pikachu, because as soon as you get double targeted, it is over. So that is why there is a half health Arcanine in slot 2 for Amber.
Does having Arcanine this early mess up the Tower J&J at all?
I
I know
think
generally
it's
you evolve
potentially.
after that, right?
Yeah, I think it's possible that it could mess it up, but
Okay.
I mean, it should still want to target the Arcanine, I would imagine.
Yeah, I suppose it's still pretty low level even with the increased BST.
Pokemon AI is weird.
Also true. Seen any feints lately?
No. Although someone got Heat Wave by Champion the other day.
Yeah, that's
And
a choice.
anyways. Alright. So coming up on that Jesse and James fight for Kerbis. This is the first of 3 fights that are definitely some of the toughest fights in the run. You can kind of see it when it comes to the levels. Like, the grunts that we're facing, they're like level 29, where we're like right around the same level, and then all of a sudden it jumps. I think Jesse and James are level 32, Archer is level 33 and 34, and then Giovanni at the end is level 35, and we are not even close.
Yeah, it's interesting that the trainer levels bump up that much when, given that we're getting no XP from fights, we have no chance of matching.
That's why it bugs me every time someone's like, "Oh, Let's Go is such an easy game. It's a game made for babies." It's like, have you looked at the level curve in this game? It's so dumb.
Well, that Arcanine did get targeted.
Something interesting we might see here. All right, Amber knows better than I do. What are we cooking, Amber? Oh, all you need to do is a little bit of chip damage. That's right. Okay, yeah. So the best way for this fight to go, doing it the way Amber is having to do it, without the Rhyhorn, is you Thunderbolt, 2-shot the Arbok, and then you can KO the Weezing with a +2 Helping Hand Thunderbolt. But that's generally a really bad range. And so what Amber did was a little bit of chip damage. to basically make that range a lot better. Still
Ooh.
didn't get it, unfortunately. Oh, Amber's minus special. Oh, that's so bad. Because that would have worked if it was neutral. Pikachu Natures. Amber is plus special defense minus special attack, so I think that's careful.
Kerbis was, I think, plus attack. I don't know what the minus was, and then I didn't catch Leggies at all.
Okay. I know Leggies wasn't unrunnable. I don't remember what it was, though. May have been neutral.
None of them
No,
were
it can't be
neutral.
neutral.
Yeah.
It's probably like lax or something.
Yeah.
So moving on to Archer, this fight is one of the fights that makes me very happy we decided to allow 2 controllers. When the game first came out, everyone did 1 controller runs, and then eventually we merged into the 2 controller category. And this was, in both versions of the game, this was a awful fight to deal with. As was Giovanni, that we're going to see Kerbis do here. Giovanni is definitely a scary fight in both versions of the game. We are going to get ourselves up to +6 by using 2 X attacks turn 1 and then an X attack on turn 2 while we zippy zap and KO the Persian. And then at +6 with Helping Hand, we barely kill the Rhyhorn in the back.
+6 with Helping Hand is wild.
Yep. It's +6 with Helping Hand. It is not guaranteed if you are minus attack. Alright, so Kerbis is the first runner through the hideout. Does have a bit of a Pokemon deficit compared to Amber, so I think Amber's probably a little bit ahead still, but definitely a close match. And
Yep.
Leggy's honestly not far behind either, just finishing up Archer here, so.
Yeah, still a
Still
very
excellent.
solid race.
Especially going into Tower is like kind of like Hideout 2.0. It's just like a couple more fights. We have another Justine James fight that's pretty much going to be the exact same as what you saw Amber do. You can no longer use the Rhyhorn because the Weezing has Dark Pulse and you'll just get flinched to death. But after Tower is like the last big catching section of the run, and we have a lot of Pokemon. Like the person with the most right now, Amber has 35 Pokemon. We have to get up to 50, so we have one more big catching section. We're going to be getting a lot of stuff, and depending on your catch situation going into this section, it can be very stressful. I think most of our runners should be decently okay. It looks like Amber's got 54 planned, which means they can skip a couple things. Same thing with Leggy. Kerbis doesn't plan all 50 Pokemon, so it's a little tougher to say.
Yeah. It's a mystery for everyone.
Kerbis currently has 43 planned.
Yeah, it's 43 planned, but like doesn't have Pidgey or Rattata, Tentacool, Grimer, Psyduck. Like there's lots of options.
I mean, I do my best not to plan Tentacool.
Well,
Yeah, this is the part of the run where I like start to wake up.
Amber bringing in Wigglytuff. Maybe because of the Growlithe evolution.
Yeah, that's why you'll see Kerbis not evolving yet, even though did have to take like that little bit of a stroll over without the Rhyhorn. It's generally just a little bit better. But sacrificing a fairy is what we used to do in both versions of the game, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, back
very
in the
consistent.
olden days.
Back in my day.
Well, I was there too. I do remember doing that.
I was not there. You don't need to worry about these Haunters on Pika, right? Because you just use a priority move and get past them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
just destroy them.
Okay.
I
Must
hate
be
that
nice.
Pikachu uses like a relatively low base power move compared to we use a 90 base power super effective move against the Haunter in Eevee version, and it's sometimes a range. It is a range at times. Oh, that is unfortunate. Pika sucks again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm glad to hear that Pika's just as bad.
Minus 10 points, Pikachu.
Can someone screenshot that from Etchy real quick?
Wow, Greta. All right. All right, so all runners kind of hoping to see a Ghastly here. It's another pair of Pokemon because you can get Ghastly and Haunter. Usually catch routes will allow for you to skip it if it doesn't show up. Pokemon Tower is notorious for just being awful at spawning Pokemon. It is so bad that most runners will opt to not lure because it doesn't help.
It is one of the many scams of the game. Luring for tower.
Meanwhile, Kerbis like saw one and then walked past it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there are a lot of spinners in tower, and sometimes
Yeah.
Pokemon will spawn. Oh, something was spawning on Amber's screen. when
We
the
will
cutscene
never
started.
know what it was.
It looked like a big dust cloud. I bet it was a Haunter.
Yeah, it might be.
Amber could ride the Haunter.
You can ride Haunter. This is true.
So now Kerbis entering the J&J fight, which will be, and look, there's a Haunter, the more standard version for Pika, as opposed to, as we talked about, Amber's will be more of the old school strats.
Yeah, both are going to work pretty much the same. It's just the you need something that one of the two Pokemon on the opposing side can just one-shot. Because as you can see from the amount of damage Kerbis just took from one hit, if you get double targeted, it is just over.
By Wigglytuff. We hardly knew you.
It was a noble sacrifice.
What feels bad is when you want to sacrifice a fairy like that and you go to use Clefairy, and Clefairy naturally comes with a higher friendship, so then it Power of Loves and lives. And you're like, no, die. And that is the last fight that we will see the last fight that we will see Pikachu doing. Hopefully, yes. I suppose that is a good qualifier. We were talking about the level curve earlier. We're about to go to an area where level 39 Pokemon will spawn, followed by a
Cubone.
That tower Cubone just blocked that.
Followed by an area where level 43 Pokemon will spawn. So we, even if we wanted to keep using the Pikachu and it was good for fights coming up, it just doesn't make any sense to skip out on Pokemon that are like almost 15 levels higher.
Yeah, imagine making your game and making your titular Pokemon just become obsolete randomly.
Yeah, maybe they expected us to just, chain Eradicates for a while.
Yeah.
Look, another Haunter.
Did none of our runners get a Ghastly?
No.
Oh my.
We saw 2 Haunters and a Tower Cubone. No Ghastlies. Possibly 3 Haunter.
Even fighting the gyms in order.
Yeah, that doesn't really help
Tough.
us, Gavin.
Because it's like, there's Erica, who I think is like level 30-ish. I think the game wants you to do Erica before Hideout, so yeah, probably about level 30. And then the next gym is Koga, who's got level 43, 44.
Well, and even if you did them in order, it doesn't really help because you get maybe 75% of a level from actually doing the fights. We got Power of Love Poison Heal on Leggies.
Ooh, very nice.
Nice.
Hopefully we'll see that later.
Sorry, you were saying something.
I was going to say, I think Silphco is meant to be after Tower before your 5th badge level, like in terms of levels.
Yep.
And I guess there's a ton of trainers in Silphco, so they probably expected you to fight everyone and gain like a level from all of them.
Kerbis opting to cut the bush. You definitely want to get a Doduo, especially with his catch count. And so just grabbing the one that you see on the screen rather than waiting to hopefully get one on the route is not a bad idea by any means.
This Doduo is causing some issues.
Amber getting baited by the 2 Rapidash and then ended up getting saved by the Doduo out there.
And the Psyduck.
Speaking of trolling Doduos. Stop!
Attack cycles are weird. Or jump cycles, I suppose, even in this case. Yeah, and so one unfortunate side effect of... or the last unfortunate side effect of Amber not getting Rhyhorn is that Kerbis's Arcanine is currently fainted, so it's not getting XP from these catches, but Amber's is still alive, so it just leveled up there, which is going to lose a tiny bit of time.
Yeah, we also usually deposit the starter at this point because you don't need it anymore. But because we didn't get a Ghastly on anyone's screen, you need something that is fast enough to run away from that Snorlax. So, unfortunately, Pikachu's also gaining a little bit of extra experience, it looks like.
And Kerbis has decided to just not go to Route 17. Get everything on... This is 16, I assume.
This is 16, yeah.
Yeah. The one downside of 16 is I believe everything is one level lower compared to 17.
Amber checking their options for some reason. You can't fault that. You gotta play this game on a single Joy-Con. It's a stupid form factor. Easy to accidentally hit a button like that.
Imagine if Amber checked options and fast text wasn't on.
Yeah, Amber's catch route looking pretty good. Judging by what they have got marked, they need Ponyta, and then one of Pidgey or Grimer. So, or Tentacool even, if you really want to go last resort. You're probably gonna always skip Tentacool and get Grimer instead.
There, we just saw a little trainer skip. It's actually very helpful because that trainer has 2 level 35 Psyducks, which is not really a great time, especially considering, I mean, if you have Pika at the front still here, but otherwise you probably have like some random thing at the front of your party that you're not ready to be fighting things.
Yeah, and Amber's being forced to catch the third Rapidash that spawned.
Hey, it got in, so it works. But yeah, so now Amber does have to figure out how to get to 50. So they currently have 49. If they get Grimer and evolve the stuff they've got,
Magmar.
they'll get to 49. They could go for Magmar.
Angle
which
fixes
is an
everything. Oh, it looks like Leggy is also going for Rapidash. Nope, never mind. I didn't see if that was intentional or not. I just saw the
I think it was just in the way.
Scene. Yeah. Who was it last year that just got blitzed by a Rapidash off screen? Oh, that was funny.
I have no idea.
Ooh, I like this play from Amber. Fixing the catch route with a Pidgeotto. They will be able to skip one thing, like evolving something, if they get this. That was apparently supersize.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a lot of XP from Pidgeotto.
That is very unlucky, yeah. I mean, at least their evolutions are done.
Yeah. Yeah, this catch count is very high before C-Skim. So that, at least, is nice.
Yeah, so in addition to the star you catch, Kerbis only needs Grimer. Amber also only needs Grimer, but has a ton of evolutions done. So, probably have a better idea of how close they are, like around the Blaine fight, is going to be my guess. We'll also know how good their stars are, so we can kind of make some judgment calls from there too. And then, depending on if Leggy gets a Pidgey, She's also going to be in a similar boat where all she needs to get is Grimer. We love skipping Tentacool.
Yep. Tentacool is a particularly annoying catch because while you are surfing, you can only use one player, so you cannot do a 2C catch. And a 1065 is not a bad deal.
Yeah, so every wild encounter, you can see the CP value. We talked about it a little bit at the start with the starter Pikachu. It is pretty irrelevant outside of the star you catch that our runners are going to be doing here. But the Staryu, we can kind of get a rough idea on how good its overall stats are. Does not say how good their special attack is or their speed, anything like that. It is just their overall stat. How good are they? So 1062 or 1065 is probably like right around the middle, maybe a little on the high side, which is good. You definitely don't want to be seeing anything in the low 1000s. If you see anything 3 digits,
you're in for a bad time.
We did see like an 1120 something earlier today, which was wild. I don't remember last time I've seen an 11. Oh, this is so big brain on Amber's part.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Normally, you never want to have only one Pokemon because you can't 2-controller catch. But guess what? You can't 2-controller catch in the water, which is where their next catch will be. Very cool.
Seems like a solid star for Kerbis.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one way up there. Oh, this is kind
Yes.
of something.
The star is a little slow on Kerbis' side, but its special attack is incredibly good.
An 88 for Amber. Jumping a lot, though.
Beautiful throw, though, once it stopped. Leggy opting to get a Route 21 Pidgey. Route 21 Pidgey is an option. The unfortunate thing is if you catch it on Route 17 or 16, it will be able to have time to level up into Pidgeot. Getting it on Route 21, it will not, unless you get a lot of extra experience. So, unfortunate, but it's still a good 2 extra catches. So.
And here's Leggy's star.
1073.
Not bad at all. I mean, I think... So Kerbis's was the lowest, and it was still above average, so we got some solid stars, at least on the CP side.
All right. Amber Star, very fast. Its special attack is okay. It's passable, for sure. Would like it to be a little bit higher, but...
Is that outspeed Pidgeot fast? On Rival?
Yeah.
No, it's not relevant here because they have the Jolteon.
Yeah, it would be, though.
Yeah.
What it's worth. Everyone's evolving something.
Double Dodrio. Interestingly, Amber deposited Dodrio, so probably will be using Rapidash for the blue fight.
Yeah, there's 3 main ways to handle blue. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there, but Rapidash is the fastest but probably most risky option. Where Doduo is probably the slowest, but definitely the most consistent. The slowest in a vacuum. The third option is potentially slower if you get trolled.
And you very easily can. Speaking of getting trolled, here's Ted. Generally isn't too bad, but he can decide to not be great.
Kerb doing the thing. Oh, I haven't seen that in so long.
I thought Saiyan does that too.
Oh, did Satan do that too?
I didn't see in the race or not, but I thought I've seen in other PBs.
Okay. Yeah, if anything is obstructing the trainer's vision, you can still get seen by them, but they will not walk up to you. They'll walk as far as the obstruction. So we actually saw it. It was either earlier this race or the race earlier today, where somebody walked in front of a trainer, but there was like a Pokemon in the way as well.
Yeah, that was Leggy's Vermilion skip.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah. So like there was the Jigglypuff like standing in the way, so the trainer wouldn't walk to you. So it's like roughly the same amount of time in this one, but it's funny to see because I haven't seen it in a while. All right, so Ted is the only mandatory fight here in Mansion. Amber beautifully making that spinner cycle. That is a very scary spinner to hit. So making that cycle is super nice.
Did you catch Leggy's star?
Ooh, I did not. Let's see what we can get on the Scald reading. Oh, very good star. 123 special attack and then 120 speed at 45. Speed is mostly relevant for the Blaine fight that Amber's about to go into here. If you have 118 speed or higher, you outspeed everything on the fight. Rapidash has 117 speed, and Ninetales has 113, which you have to have really bad speed to get outsped by the Ninetales, but it definitely can happen.
It's definitely gonna happen. Jumping Grimer. Which, I don't know how they managed to jump, to be perfectly honest.
All right. So yeah, assuming everyone has their catch count accurate, which is sometimes easy to have some things not marked just because of all the evolutions and stuff you're getting. But if that's the case, Amber is definitely a little bit ahead of Kerbis here, both in progression as well as Pokemon count. So I think we have a clear leader at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some fights that can change that.
Yeah. Fuse Ray. Hopefully we don't see a Flamethrower burn as well. Okay. Because the Blaine fight, we're using a high-level water Pokemon against the Fire Gym. it's going to be pretty easy, but there are small things that can trip you up, like that burn, the confuse ray, and the speed thresholds that Etiquette was talking about. And it's been a bit over an hour since our last gym, and we finally have badge number 3, except it's actually number 7.
Yeah, it's funny that there's even dialogue after this gym where your rival comes up to you and is like, "Oh, how many gyms have you done?" "Oh, wow, 7, cool." Like, yes, I have done 7
Yeah.
badges.
And so now we're going to go into a small gym rush, essentially. Now that we've taken out Blaine, going to do the same for Surge and Erica. And with our high-level Starmie, they're just going to go down real quick.
Yeah, I always find it kind of funny that like Starmie is like just one of the best Pokemon for Kanto in general, because it's like the only gym leader types that counter you are electric and grass, and they just so happen to be the ones that are the lowest level. So it doesn't matter. Herbist in chat says, I have really good special attack time to get silly. I didn't see what their Starmie special attack was, but the pre-evolution one was very high, so interested to see what we're going to get.
I don't know, I'm always a little afraid when we talk about getting silly in Let's Go.
Yeah, it's important to note that with the way that the format works, even if you don't win your races, you still want to be getting the best time you can. In these 3-way races, a first place finish will get you 3 points. A third place finish will get you 0, but a second place finish will get you either 2 or 1 point, depending on how you compare to the overall times in the round. If you're in the top half of times in the round, then you'll get 2 points, and if you're in the bottom half, you'll get 1. So even if you think, I don't necessarily think this myself, but even if you think Amber's out of reach here, you still want to be putting up the best time you can. Just because at this point, you may not be competing with first place, but you're competing with the rest of the round. So it is very important.
And the other notable thing about this small gym rush is that it's just, even though we don't get much XP from fights, this XP is enough to give us most of the evolutions that we're looking to get before we have to get to our 50. And so we're both progressing plot right now, as well as just getting that last bit of XP that we need for our 50.
Alright, so Amber teaching Thunderbolt here. Thunderbolt is a basically perfect move to round out Starmie's moveset. The only way this moveset could get better is if we took a stopover at Seafoam Island and got Ice Beam. But yeah, like our notable weakness right now in terms of coverage is like, oh, how do we deal with water types? Specifically something like Slowbro. We're going to come across a couple Slowbros in the run. And now we have an answer. So
there is exactly one Pokemon that we are not prepared to deal with, and that is Executor.
Yep. So next fight is one of the most interesting fights, in my opinion, in terms of like when we first introduced 2 controllers to the route, we kind of did it very sparingly. Like a lot of the Pikachu, like the Pika strats that we saw through Route 9 and Rock Tunnel and even Hideout, like those didn't exist when we first did the 2 controller stuff. But the blue fight at the beginning of Silphco was like one of the first examples of a fight is like, this is just so much better with 2 controllers. Like I don't even remember what we used to do. It was probably like deal with it with Dodrio and then switch mid-battle to Starmie.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? I was looking at my 1 controller PB the other day. I'll see what I used to do. I don't know if it was intentional, but I led Dodrio, I took out the Executor, and then I died to Charizard, and then brought out Starmie.
Yeah, I was wondering if dying to Charizard was going to be the play there. I mean, it's going down to the Charizard either way, so...
Yeah.
I wonder if they intended you to just skip all of these trainers in Erica's gym.
I mean, they let you.
Right, and like it's so easy to do, but I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
Man, I will say, if I'm Amber right now, Kerbis is like a little bit too close. Like, you definitely have a lead, but it's like, it's just like a little bit too close that you don't want to do too many safe strats that lose a little time, because that little time adds up.
It also comes down to how we're looking after Archer too.
Yes, Archer 2 is a big fight.
We don't hope to see bad Archer 2s, but a really bad Archer 2 could definitely swing this back in Kerbis's favor by itself. Or since we're using Rapidash for blue, a Fire Blast miss would also obviously not make up the whole time, but do some of it. And neither Amber nor Kerbis decided to go for the tiny bit of tech as you're flying away from Erica's gym. If you take a half step under the awning of the gym, you can skip some of the animation as you fly away. Which was a pretty recent discovery. Ooh. There's that Fire Blast miss. Alright, not too bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
the unfortunate
the
thing is the light screen.
light screen, yeah. I was like, okay, the Executor is gone. We don't need to worry about it more than I remembered. Charizard still exists. Okay.
Yeah, you have to pump there if you get the light screen on the miss. Pump always kills at +0, but we typically will X special and scald just because, we don't want to risk the 80% on a 2-controller fight. Kerbeus's special is high enough. I think he might go for the scald without the X special. Starting at 123 special, which is actually what Leggy has. Scald is more likely to KO than Hydro Pump is to even hit. So it's a little optimization you can do there. You kind of have to be a little bit careful with your X item usage throughout the end game. There are a number of fights you can make a little bit safer by using 1 or 2 extra X items. But the downside is every X item you use adds 1 more to your friendship. And we basically spend this entire end game trying not to hit 150 friendship going into Bruno. Once you hit 150 friendship, your Pokemon will start doing what we call turnarounds, where every time you use a super effective move, or you heal it, or it gets knocked down into red health, it does this little turnaround and wastes 2 seconds, but the round
Amber got the
tries to get that at Agatha.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Amber got the optimal start to the Archer 2, self-destruct, no protect, which means that both of the lead Pokemon go down on the first turn, which makes this possible to be a 3-turn fight if Cubone cooperates. Cubone did not cooperate.
I tried.
But still, a 4-turn is... You're happy about 4 turns.
Alright, we'll see Archer on Kerbeus's side. Yeah, this fight generally... Also, shout out to the Cubone for using Focus Energy and not critting either Boomerang hit there. Anyway,
I mean, technically you're saving text.
I know, but still. But yeah, so Archer 2 is what we call a true double fight, where you only control one of the Pokemon in the fight. So you're kind of at the mercy of what your partner decides to do, what your opponents decide to do. Muck can either protect or not protect turn 1. Electrode can either Thunderbolt or Self-Destruct turn 1. You generally hope for the fight that Amber got. The one that Kerbeus is getting here is honestly okay. You kind of have to heal this turn just in case you keep getting Thunderbolted, but assuming it goes Self-Destruct this turn, this fight should go fine.
Yeah, this version of the fight is pretty solid, unless you get paralyzed by that Thunderbolt, in which case it's very bad.
Yeah, we saw... I want to say it was in the first race, Mocha got Thunderbolt paralyzed turn 1 and didn't get their Psychic off against the Muck, and you do not want that Muck to live outside of Protect, because it will start minimizing, it will start toxicking. I think we saw Raichu on that fight and Pidgeot, like, from the partner. It was just a bad time.
Mm-hmm. So Kerbeus ended up with the fast 4-turn, because Cubone was able to take out the Raticate, so that's just less actions on the field.
Same amount of two double battle lag, but
True.
Kerbeus getting, it looks like his final evolution, so he should be at 48. Amber's probably not far behind. There's the Grimer
There it is.
level up. And then, yeah, final Jesse and James fight, not nearly as consequential as the other 3, because we now have a Psychic-type Pokemon, but there is sort of one bad thing that can happen, where you can get paralyzed, but you always have your partner to heal, so it's fine.
A nice easy blue fight for Leggy. Just Dodrio makes it safe, which is what Kerbis did as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the second Geo fight for Amber, which, like the previous J&J fight, is much easier now that we just have a water type.
We're also going to see Archer 2 on Leggy's screen. See what version of the fight she gets. The worst part about Archer is you have to sit here and wait after you do your turn
For all of
wait
this
for the game to process.
self-destruct, no protect.
Best version of the fight.
Yeah. Some solid archers all around, actually, then. And the 3 turn is still on the table for Leggy.
Yeah, the absolute best thing you can see is self-destruct, no protect, and then the Cubone uses focus energy turn 1. Because after that, the Cubone is only going to be attacking. And so it's just way more likely for him to target the Raticate.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Still,
Right.
as we said, not bad at all.
All right, Amber picking up their final 2 Pokemon. Once you clear out the Silphco, you can get Lapras here, and then Porygon outside. There's also a rare candy in this room, but you'll see some of the runners skip it, just like that. And you may think that's a little bit odd. And it's basically because in Pikachu version, you can get away with using 1 less candy because you are not using 1 on Ponyta sometimes. Amber just happened to catch a Rapidash, but you can also allow the Ponyta to naturally evolve because you already have Arcanine that you can continue to ride. And so what you can do is skip the Lapras candy there, which you may think like, oh, it's like 2 steps away. Why don't you just grab it anyways, even if you don't need it? And the reason is because of friendship. Every candy you give gives way more friendship, and you'll end up getting those turnarounds that we'll see later on, like a fight sooner. And it unironically loses you like 10 seconds to have turnarounds a fight too early.
Yeah, so even if that extra level would improve some ranges, it's honestly better to just hope that you hit the range and not have to deal with the guaranteed 10-second time loss.
All right, Amber doing final shop of the run, buying the rest of the X items we need. There are a couple of versions of this shop, depending on how you want to spend your final like 45 minutes of the run. And we're seeing a more traditional standard menu there from Amber. If somebody doesn't buy X Special Defends, it means they're doing a safer version of Endgame. You can also skip full heals, which is a bit riskier, but sometimes is the right call. Just depending on how many of your healing items you had to use during the run. But you'll pretty much always see people top off their X specials, buying some max repels for Victory Road, and then a ton of hyper potions. because it will cover your healing for the rest of the game.
And then here we can see a little tech thing. Since there are so many teleporters in this gym, you want to be facing like the exact middle of the teleporter when you walk onto it. Otherwise, your character is going to do an extra little animation where they like turn to be at the center, and that does kind of add up because there's a lot of teleporters in here, so it's nice to get that.
Yeah, it doesn't work for every teleporter, but if you can, in addition to like aiming at the center, you also want to come at it from the top, because you'll notice every time you go onto a teleporter, your character will turn to face the camera before doing the teleport, like that. And so you can actually, if you mess up really bad, you can end up with 2 feet shuffles, where if you do it perfectly, you could end up with 0. So it doesn't work with every, because you can't always approach from the top, but when you can, it feels really good. All right, so Sabrina time. One of the first fights that we have to do where we have to set up multiple X items. This fight is going to take 2 X specials and an X speed. Mr. Mime almost always goes for light screen, just like that. If he doesn't, then you can potentially skip the X speed and just tank a hit from the Alakazam. But otherwise, you kind of need to stall out the light screen turns anyways, so... Otherwise, a pretty clean fight.
Yeah, we want to make sure that the light screen, or generally speaking, we want to make sure the light screen isn't up when Alakazam comes out, but as Etiquette said, you can take a single hit from it. And I don't think anyone forgot to teach Thunderbolt, which has been a problem in races in the past. It's always interesting when you have that moment of realization as you're staring down the Slowbro without Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
I know we don't use the Master Ball in most speedruns when we get it, but it's so funny that in the run that's all about catching, we still get the Master Ball after we're done with our catches.
Yeah, it just unfortunately doesn't make sense to delay any catching section until after you've done Self. It would be super nice, I'll tell you that. Imagine going into the water, getting Tentacool with a Master Ball every run.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Almost makes you want to go back to Route 21 just to catch Tentacool and then... Alright, so Amber getting the gold teeth. You can grab the gold teeth either before or after Koga. Most runners do it before, but it's effectively the same amount of time.
Actually, does Tenta spawn south of here? Because if you just got the gold teeth, surfed, Master Ball to Tenta, you're out of there.
Hold on. Let me load up the game.
Yeah, I don't actually know. Yippee, we are worthy of challenging the gym.
I wonder if we're going to see a 49 at all this tournament.
We saw one last year, I think.
We did see one last year. The almost funnier one is seeing a 51. It's like, oh, I messed up somewhere.
Pumping muck. It's interesting.
There's no way that was intentional.
I just said interesting.
Wait, did they... Maybe they didn't elixir yet.
Yeah, I don't think they've elixired.
That's still wild. Caden is one of the scariest fights. Whenever there's like someone who's not a gym leader that we know the name of them, it's a scary fight. So but yeah, Caden has minimize, has toxic like everyone else in the gym, protect, so.
Yeah, this gym is basically, will everyone use protect and waste a bunch of time? Yes or no?
Generally, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sai. Kerbis is doing 2+2 games. Also, I can confirm, you do have to dodge a spinner, but there are tentacle in that water down below.
As the new emergency catch. Although, if you're at that point, you've already probably caught tentacle, so...
Yeah, that's like you skipped tentacle, but then Grimer didn't spawn situation.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like pretty standard... Wait, why is Starmie so low?
It was explosion.
Oh my god.
I
I was gonna
missed
say
that.
standard Koga, but... Explosion is not the most common, but it's very nice when it happens because, well, as I'm explaining it, I get proved wrong. But
Generally
speaking, the game, the AI will see a kill and will opt to not protect because of that. So you can a lot of times get away with getting through that fight very fast. Kerbis did get minimized there, as I was saying that, but ended up hitting through it very nicely.
Have you seen if Leggy's Pidgeotto has leveled up yet?
I don't think it has.
Uh-oh. Oh wait, there's still one left. Okay.
I don't think it's going to. Nope.
Yep. That's unfortunate.
Alright, so Leggy's gonna need to get a final Pokemon. There are a couple of options. The probably most consistent option is if you have an extra Moonstone Pokemon, which it looks like Leggy does. She can go right next door to the gym and grab the Moonstone from the Copycat Girl house.
Alternatively, you can go Master Ball a Tentacle.
I was gonna say you can Master Ball a Tentacle. That is an option. You can potentially catch a Venonat on Route 15 if your name is Dynam. So there are definitely ways to fix it, but it is an unfortunate situation to be in for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably just go grab the Moonstone.
Yeah. I think there was a Clefairy in her party or box. I didn't see Kerbis's Koga, but hopefully it went well.
It appears as if it was nothing exciting. Yeah, right here, running up the route is actually faster than flying over to Viridian City.
It's so unintuitive, it feels like it should be faster to fly.
Yeah. If this was
so-
Sword and Shield, it would be faster.
Yes. Flying in Sword and Shield, like,
It's so good.
it's so good. But yeah, I was gonna say on Amber's screen you can see the puzzle here. The way that they intend you to do this puzzle with all the spinner pads in Giovanni's gym is to go up through the area that Amber's about to go through next, and then make this guy walk up to you, which makes him move so you can get underneath him, and then you're supposed to go all the way around the gym fighting 2 extra trainers and then sneak in behind him to get onto that blue right moving teleporter. But because you can just go talk to him from behind and then he won't move again later on, he can't block your path, and because of that you are able to skip fighting the 2 extra trainers along the side. We see Leggy going for really anything, most likely Venonat.
What is
Although nothing is spawning.
Nothing's spawning. There we go.
Oh, making sure you can get past the trainer, yeah.
Yeah.
That trainer can't see you as long as you're in the grass.
You have a Master Ball. Alright, got in. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that was just to skip the animation for the Master Ball. All intended.
Not only Mewtwo had the animation.
I don't know, actually.
I know Mewtwo has a special animation. I don't know if there's just like a generic Master Ball animation.
Okay,
Yeah, I think there is.
fair
I
enough.
don't know.
Okay. So Amber opting to do a couple of safer strats here in the gym. The first one is on Samuel. Samuel is a fight that you can just one-turn it by hitting a Hydro Pump. But Hydro Pump can be a range if you have really bad special, which none of our racers do, so that's not an issue, but Hydro Pump is only 80% accurate. So they opted to do a 2-controller fight. And then this fight as well, the traditional way to do this fight is to X defend, then you X special attack, and then you scald through the fight. The Dugtrio is faster than you, so you actually get hit 3 times by the Dugtrio, and if any of those Earthquakes are a critical hit, then your Starmie is just dead. By doing a 2-controller fight, you can set up the X special at the same time as the first hit. Earthquake becomes less powerful because it becomes a spread move, and that means your Starmie will always live even through a critical hit. Unfortunately, you'll see that the Rapidash has to go down because of it, but that's actually a good thing, because Rapidash living through this fight is quite a bit slower, actually. And it can happen if you get about a 10% chance to have it live on 1 HP. Because friendship is a great mechanic.
And conveniently, in the unfortunate scenario where you've used up all of your revives up to this point, because we do want Rapidash to be alive for the next fight, there's actually a revive in the gym as we leave. So it actually works out quite well, even if you've somehow burn through all your other revives.
And Leggy made it through Caden without any issues, and also didn't get Beach Row Protect, so that was nice.
Also, despite what her tracker says, she does have 50, so
Yes.
she would not be in this gym without it. But yeah, that Giovanni fight with 2 controllers, for the tournament last year, a few of us basically put our heads together to try to come up with some safer versions of some of the endgame fights, because as you can probably tell for the majority of the run, we haven't really talked about a lot of dangerous fights. There were a lot of fights that we could lose or gain time on, but not necessarily a lot of dangerous ones. But the endgame is not so lucky. The endgame has a lot of fights that a crit can kill you. So we came up with primarily 4 different fights, slightly safer ways to do them, and all in all, they don't lose that much time. I think if you did the safe version of every fight, you lose a little bit under a minute, compared to doing the traditional strats. So it's even good for people, learning the game and getting PBs up until maybe even the 305 range. You can still get away with doing them.
Which, as someone who had it happen to, it's a good idea to go for, because there's nothing more demoralizing than having 3 PBs in a row die to Champ when you're learning the game.
But yeah, I mean, Kerbis is basically trying to catch up. So at this point, you're probably not going to see Kerbis doing many of the safe strats, if any of them. I think his star is even good enough. He's probably going to 1-controller Naomi coming up, which is definitely a dangerous fight. Amber pointing out that they scalded Marowak. Shout out to Etchy. That fight is one of the few fights where your partner Pokemon, what it actually is, matters. We're using Rapidash because it is a fast ride Pokemon and it is the easiest one to get. But Rapidash specifically works really well on this fight because it guarantees that the Raichu in Eevee or the Jolteon in this version does not come out second. Because if it comes out second and you haven't set up an X speed yet, then you will get outsped by it. And you can't set up an X speed on turn 1 because you need an X special to KO the Pidgeot. So it just so happens that Rapidash works really well. The way the AI decides what Pokemon to come out next is based on effective move power. So it'll see something like Earthquake from the Marowak being really powerful against the Rapidash, and Petal Dance from Vileplume being really powerful against Starmie. So it'll always choose those 2 Pokemon before any Raichu or Jolteon.
And now Amber is entering Victory Road, which has 4 quote-unquote required fights. And then 2 Elite Four.
Yep. Yeah, the fact that we're fighting these trainers is the entire 80% NMS qualifier in the title. NMS stands for no mount skips. Mount skips are a relatively, well, we knew about them for a while, but newly discovered consistent strategies to do them, where you quite literally use your mount to ride through the trainer's vision and they don't see you. So you can skip every one of these trainers. You could skip technically any trainer in the game that you're allowed to use a ride Pokemon in the vicinity of, but it just so happens that these are the only 4 in the run where we have Rapidash for. Because it needs to be either Rapidash or Aerodactyl are the only 2 that work. It needs to be fast enough to get the skip. But yeah, Amber through Naomi. Naomi is one of the scariest fights in the run. If you one controller that, you essentially are at the mercy of Hydro Pump hitting, as well as not getting Sucker Punched. And it's a bad time. So. But it is a good way to try to make up time, so we might see Kerbis do it.
Etchy is pulling for that.
Kerbis did say time to get silly, so I mean this would be a silly way to do it.
It's on the table, yeah.
I went for one controller Naomi yesterday. I missed the first pump. I lived on 3 HP. I missed the second pump. I died.
Oh.
That's the true once Naomi
That's the true
experience.
experience. The best experience is you X special, you get crunch defense drop, you use Hydro Pump, you get Sucker Punched and die. That's the true Naomi experience. But let's see what happens with Kerbis here.
Let's see what Kerbis' experience is.
Okay. Easy. What moves does the Venusaur have? Hold please. I'm scared at why you're asking.
Yeah, me too. Because if you see the Venusaur moves, something has happened.
Solar Beam and Sludge Bomb. Right, Alexa skip.
The
Yeah.
Alexa skip. It looks so scary. Oh god. Yeah, you can just hug the ledge there and just barely not go high enough to get into Alexa's vision. And it's really scary looking. It's not that bad, but
Yeah, like, because we were talking about earlier with how narrow their vision is. When I do Alexa skip, I literally bounce off of her character model.
yeah, you can hit her and she's just like, oh, whatever.
Okay. Very important that you fight the girl here and not the guy. Even though this fight is also another trolley fight where you have to hit another Hydro Pump and the Jinx can put you to sleep and freeze you and all this other stuff. If you fight the boy, he has an Electrode and you just die. Like, you have no chance.
Yeah, I feel like last year Caroline was actually one of the
Yeah.
worst trainers.
Tragedy really struck.
Caroline decided a couple of races, including one I was in, and I was
Yeah.
on the. I was benefited from it, I will say, but it is unfortunate when that happens. Alright, so Leggy made it through Giovanni. Gonna make her way over to Rival 5 and then Victory Road after as well. As we've got riveting gameplay on the other two screens.
Yeah. How many times do you push this one on Amber's screen? Like 20 or something?
I think it's 20 on the bottom one, yeah.
It's so fun.
And you have to hit A for each one.
Yeah.
Good skip from Kerbis.
Yeah. Amber did the skip a little bit slower, and I feel like every time they do the skip in like a situation like this, they just have like a war flashback to Barrier Blitz when they hit Alexa, and it's just painful.
Yeah. Alexa's low-key a scary fight. It leads Dragonair. It has a Hitmonchan, which obviously we're a Psychic type, so it's fine. But then she has a Wigglytuff in the middle of her party that has Shadow Ball and just demolishes you if you give it turns. So you have to know how to deal with it if you accidentally hit Alexa.
Yeah, and then the other thing that happens if you hit Alexa is that means your PP usage gets a little messed up. So you either have to get a little bit creative in E4, or you have to run back to the free heal.
Alright, so Amber skipped the full restore there. So the standard way through Elite Four involves picking up a full restore in Victory Road and then using it on Agatha. Because Amber skipped it, either means one of two things. They're either going for the Power of Love version of the fight, which I doubt.
Unlikely.
Or they're planning to do safer strats, which basically negates the use of the full restore, so you don't have to worry about picking it up. It's one of those, like, yes, the fights are slower, but you also don't have to pick up the full restore, so it kind of saves a little time back. But we'll see. The way you got to do this fight, or this way, is you need to have either a bird or a fish. Lapras is a fish, so it is good.
Real Bingus hours. Hey, look, another Lapras.
We're into Lorelei. We might see one more pump on Lorelei. You can either go to +6 and guarantee everything, or +4 if you have good special attack. At +4, the I almost said Lapras. Oh my god. The Lapras could be a range. And then the Jinx afterward, you can either pump or you can hit a Scald range for it. So. See, the problem is I don't have like BTTV or anything, so I just see Larpus in chat, and I feel like Slots looks ridiculous to me. It's just no actual emotes.
I'm looking on my phone, so it's the same for me.
Alright, and Kerbis has finished the final fight. Let's see if he goes for the full restore. He does. So it looks like he will not be going for the 2C Agatha.
Meanwhile, Leggy is going on to Naomi. See how she does. Is opting to 2-controller it, which I don't hate by any means.
Yeah, I guess at this point for Leggy, it's probably like, alright, let me not do anything that it's gonna make me so mad that I just quit.
Yeah. Because in addition to the general format, in terms of points, we are doing it as 4 rounds of Swiss. So Swiss meaning we're going to be matching people up based on how many points they have. So all of the winners basically will be in a pool, and races will be picked from that, and then so on all the way down the list. And that's going to happen for each round. And then at the end of the 4 rounds, we're going to take the top 9 competitors and put them in sort of like a top cut semifinal sort of situation. And tiebreaker goes to there's a set of tiebreaker, procedures, but one of them is whoever has the least number of DNFs. So even if you're in a situation like, I'm not going to win or anything like that, like you still want to put up a time, you still want to finish, because in addition to, least number of DNFs, we also have a average time as a tiebreaker. I think it's the average of your best 3 times. So you still want to be putting up good times, or the best times you can, I should say, even if, the current race you're in may be lost.
Kerbis and Amber both started their current fights at basically the same time. So Kerbis is basically an exact Lorelei fight behind.
Great. Alright, so going to Agatha. Like I said, we'll see the 2C version of the fight. It is very important, like I said earlier, that you have a bird or a fish. You need something that is weak to electric moves and not weak to poison moves in order for this to work, because you have to bait out the wheezing first. The way that the AI works is it says, oh, which Pokemon do I have that has the best move against the opponent Pokemon? And it just uses effective move power. So it'll see Thunderbolt as being 90 base power, but it's 2 times effective against the 2 water types, as being the best move, and so Weezing will come out next. If you have anything else, then Gengar could come out next, because just that's how it works, and you have to set up an X speed before the Gengar. But other than that, the fight is pretty straightforward. These are the turnarounds we were talking about. You'll probably see Amber opt to try and skip some of them by using 1 more X special, and then start scalding things. Yeah.
And good skip for Leggy as well.
I love to see it.
Kerbis's special attack is so high. I just caught a glimpse of it. Oh my god. He already has 148.
Jeez.
And that's before the 153 friendship bump. And he's a level lower than he's going to be at the end. This thing is going to have like 154 or something on champion.
So I'm hearing Dragonite is not a range.
Probably Thunderbolt Dragonite. You can't. Don't try.
Kerbis, do science. We need to just find out.
Yeah, it's time to be silly.
How silly do you want to be?
If you really want to be silly, you start pumping on Agatha. Let's not do that. Okay, so we're gonna see the more traditional version of Agatha here on Kerbis's side. 9 times out of 10, Agatha is gonna lead with a Glare. As we set up our X special, we'll set up an X speed, and then heal off the Glare, as well as health with the full restore, and then sweep the fight. There is a 20%, 10% chance every turn that could get Power of Love, meaning Starmie just shakes off the paralysis, which saves a decent chunk of time.
No luck, though. And we did get Defense Drop.
Yeah, Defense Drop can be kind of scary. Golbat has Quick Attack, so we have to be aware of that. Yeah, that was a defense drop, Etchy.
Yeah, it was.
But it was only one defense drop, luckily. And then Amber doing a 2-controller Lance fight. There are a couple different ways you can do a 2-controller Lance. The sort of first way we came up with involves actually starting the fight with one controller and then summoning the second controller mid-fight. This new version that I think Sandy and Dynam pioneered involves just using Lapras the whole time. The idea is you want Lapras to take some damage so that way it can die easier on the champion fight, because having the second controller out for the entire champion fight is pretty slow, so you'd like it to die.
I don't know what Amber's range was, but the Ice Shard from Lapras is nice to confirm the KO, so it's never a range then. Amber saving for champ. With the 2C. Did they go for 2C? I didn't see if they summoned or not. But it's fairly safe with 2C if you go that route. Okay, yep, there we go. Air slash into Starmie. Which is a bit unfortunate, because I think you want to have Lapras take these hits. Because, yeah, Lapras will just be up for the rest of the fight now.
Yeah, aside from this being slightly suboptimal on Amber's side for the having the Lapras live through it, this is a pretty safe journey to the end. So GG's to Amber.
And with a fairly solid time. Or I shouldn't say fairly, very.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it. The standard one controller fight that we saw Kerpus do there, for both Lance and Champion, are basically the same. You set up an X special defense, and then you set up your X items, essentially hoping not to get crit. Because the crits ignore the X special defense, but that's why the 2-controller version is so much safer.
There we go. That's GG for Amber.
Yay.
1C fight for Kerbis.
That is a 3:03.56 for Amber. Current best, no, not current best time of the tournament. Current second best time of the tournament.
Sub-etchy time of the tournament.
Sub-etchy is really all that matters.
I literally forgot there was a race earlier today. Sub-etchy is the best time of the tournament. GG there, and then Kerbis finishing up this fight should be pretty solid. Definitely best second place time so far. Won't quite sub-etchy, but will actually be kind of close. So.
The rivalry continues.
Maybe if Kerbis had razzed a few more things.
That Clefable was so unfortunate.
Yeah, I hear that Leggy might be on PB pace? Question mark.
I think it's possible, yeah. I think she... Oh, there's the power of love.
Nice.
Nice.
That will definitely help. You get power of love turn 1 or 2. It's helpful. Turn 1, you essentially want to set up now on the wheezing. And you always have that full restore if bad things happen. But it looks like we're good. Excellent fight there. And that is a 3:06.30 for Kerbis. Alright, it looks like we might have our first place finisher. Amber, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, doing alright. I feel very tired. I don't know why.
GG's, congrats on the win.
Yep, congrats.
Thank you. Definitely one of the more interesting, at least in the peak section, it's one of the more interesting runs I've had.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Minus special attack seemed like it bit you in a couple spots, but overall wasn't too bad.
I think it was like fine, yeah. I mean, the bigger problem is not getting Rhyhorn and having minus special attack.
Yeah.
And that combination can be deadly. And looks like we also have Kerbis here. Hello, Kerbis. GG's on the finish.
I just want to say one thing. One thing none of you are going to say about me is that I'm scared of the moment. I'm going for those pumps every single time.
Love it.
And I didn't miss any, by the way. I missed a range, but I didn't miss any pumps. It's easy. Just hit your pumps.
Just hit your pumps.
I don't think I missed a pump either, but I did miss a Fire Blast, which is fun. Yeah, I knew I was like a minute or a bit over a minute ahead of you, like in like Sylph, but I know Kerbis always just goes for 1C everything, so I'm like, let me buy X special defenses just in case I need to like pivot to 1C strats.
Listen, I was far enough behind that I probably wasn't going to catch up to you no matter what I did, but I was going to apply the pressure.
Yeah,
I gotta, it's the mind games, just you knowing I'm on your tail. is enough
I mean,
to
at
maybe
that point, you still could
make
have
a
gotten like
mistake.
light spin skip. I mean, like less protection.
Yeah,
In Koga's gym.
I actually
like-
got kind of unlucky on a bunch of stuff. Like my Koga's gym was not very fast, and I did. Oh, there was something else that happened that lost me a bit of time. I forget. Also, actually, I literally razzed this run. I don't want to hear it. I razzed that Clefable and it didn't work.
Oh my god, you got Fable too?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some interesting spawns.
Yeah.
Oh my, I was so happy when I got Clefable and then I saw the experience and I'm like, that was the saddest I've ever been in my entire life.
It was,
when I
it
saw
was level 5, and it wasn't first ball, I think. So,
Yeah, I got like
See-
not even a full level off of it. It was
Mine
hilarious.
was at the very end of Mount Moon, and I didn't have a Clefairy yet. That's really the only reason I even caught
Oh
that.
my god, you didn't get Clefairy either?
No, dude, my catch route was so weird. I got Bulbasaur, and then I got Clefable instead of Clefairy.
Mhm.
I got an Abra, and I was like really far ahead on catches because of all that. And then my Route 10 was Doo-Doo. I only got Male Nido
shit.
and Krabby, and I even repelled there, and that's still all I got.
Yeah, I got like, I was doing decent on catches to Route 10, and then I just got like everything on Route 10. And then,
Yeah, your 10 was kind of wild.
yeah,
Pretty much everything except Route 10 was good for me. Like
yeah,
Rock Tunnel was really good.
I was in like a really interesting situation. My entire Route 17 was like super weird. I kept getting Rapidashi to spawn, and a Ponyta wouldn't spawn. There were like 3 or 4 Rapidashes and 0 Ponytas, and I eventually just like gave in and got one.
Yeah, it was the third Rapidash that you finally went after.
Yeah, I actually forgot that I didn't pick up the Silver Rages, because normally I pick up Silver Rages if I'm getting Penta, but I was like pretty sure I wasn't getting Penta, but I'd already like passed the area where the Silver Rages were, so I thought, like in my head, I thought I picked them up, and then I saw I didn't. And
There's the ones at the bottom of the route too.
yeah, well, I was already in like the Rapidash thing,
Oh,
like an encounter, and I thought I had it.
I also caught 3 things on the grass patch above Snorlax.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
The
were
only
there.
thing you caught on
for forever.
17 was the Ponyta.
Yeah, I golded that split because that was the only thing I caught.
Oh,
Oh, did you catch a
that
rat?
wasn't even Power of Love. That was
Oh my
natural
God.
live on 1.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a big PB, isn't it?
Should be.
I guess I shouldn't speak too soon.
You all got fantastic stars.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really? My
Hermes,
yeah, my
yours
special
was the
attack by
lowest
the end
CP.
was like 153.
Yeah. Yours had the lowest CP at 1065.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, my special attack was like decent, like it was good enough, but it didn't really cause problems. And my speed was like really good, but like really good speed like doesn't even matter on Pika.
Yeah, my speed was okay. I got outsped by Blaine's Rapidash, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it happens. As long as you're not like at that like 0 to 3 IV speed, it's like fine.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was hoping I wouldn't be minimum speed because I wasn't going to be able to triple candy Staryu. Because I skipped the Route 6 one because I got an immediate Growlithe, and then I wound up needing to use the one on Pony.
Oh, that reminds me, I did like a really interesting... I had a really interesting thing that I'd like never do on a PvP run. But like even when you get Growlithe immediately on Route 6, typically you just like skip the Route 6 candy.
Yeah, that's what I
But-
did.
Yeah, I still got the Route 6 candy even though I got an immediate Growlithe because I was Mana Special, and at that point my EXP was like not that good. And I was considering using the candy on Pika to get level 30 for Day 4.
Oh, jeez.
But I got-
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got that experience naturally anyway, so it didn't matter, but that's kind of the thinking why I went like all the way up to get it.
Oh, also, shout out to my Nidoking killing 2 things with poison damage.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was very good.
Ooh, GG's. This looks like a nice PB for Leggy.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
great PB for Leggy. First PB of the tournament, I believe.
That sounds right to me.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what, the 3rd race? Total.
This is the third race, yeah. Well, last time, the first race, the first finisher got a PB, so
Yeah.
ruined it for everyone.
As he's wont to do.
All right, GG for Leggy getting a looks like a 314 flat in the race room. Probably retime that and see if it's a 313. But
Probably is.
either
Yeah,
way,
I believe it.
GG. Excellent race.
Yeah, that's exciting.
See if Leggy wants to come in for a chat. Oh, and there she is. GG Leggy. Congrats on the
Thank
PB.
you.
GG, congrats.
Thank you. I cannot tell you how hard my heart sank when I finished that Sabrina fight and that Pidgeotto had not
Oh my
evolved.
gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
That was
And then just
rough.
nothing wanted to spawn on the road.
Oh
You
yeah,
went
that was
to-
rough.
It was painful for us all.
Yeah. I will say that after my Giovanni split, I was 10 seconds ahead of PB again. And it was at that point I knew I just had to full send it.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah. Like, I walked into this going like, yeah, I'm probably not going to win. I am up against two incredible racers. But, I just want to put on a good show. I just want to go out there and put out the best run I can.
Mhm.
And that's what wound up happening.
And you
Yeah, you
did.
did
You
really
literally
good.
put
Yeah, it was
out the best
really
run
well.
you've ever done.
Right? Exactly. So, I am incredibly happy with today. I can't wait to go back and watch the VOD again. Mostly so that I can take a look at that Goddess again.
Oh, were you the one who got the 800 experience on the
Yeah.
honors? Yeah.
And Pikachu was neutral nature, but I still had at least a couple of attack AVs, which that plus the 800 experience meant that I was really ahead of the level curve until about Route 6, and then it started to fall off a little bit, but, Nugget Bridge was a cakewalk. I was 100% on the coughing range on the rocket at the end of it. And then I got my first good star in months. I had 2 back-to-back practice runs where I missed getting the 2-shot on Sabrina's Mr. Mime.
Mm.
So everything just really came together this run in really good ways, outside of
Oh.
being 900 experience short.
I just remember the other weird thing that happened to me. Mr. Mime did so much damage. I had to heal. I had to take an extra turn and heal in that fight.
Oh jeez.
And he didn't even defense drop me. He just attacked me every turn except for first turn light screen. And I would have died if I did not heal, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Also, I think this was one of my best Pikachus I've ever had. I was plus attack, so my attack was really good, but then my special attack, I had an easy 100% range on the second Jesse and James fight with Helping Hand. Pika was just jacked.
Oh my gosh, I was so sad on Jesse James. I didn't get Rhyhorn. I had to do the old Jesse James strat for the hideout one. And then I was able to attack the Weezing with Nidoking. I didn't have to use a super potion. And I tried to go for the Helping Hand Thunderbolt, and because I was minus special attack, I still missed it, even with the poison jab tick.
Eek.
So that was sad.
Oof.
All right. Well, congratulations on the race finish. It was definitely an exciting watch.
Yeah, you all
Uh,
did so good.
Yeah, very good race.
Thank you, and GG both of you, Curvis and Leggy. That was fun.
Yeah, GG's all around. And I just want to make a special shout out to our wonderful commentators and tech team. Y'all don't know how much work it is to run one of these restreams. Unless you do, in which case, you know.
Yeah, special shout out to Spider doing both tech and commentating.
Yeah, I convinced them to do it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Glad
Can
to
we
help
also a
out.
special shout out for Diego, who's doing the Spanish restream right now.
True.
Mhm.
Thank you,
That
Diego.
is so cool and so exciting.
I know that's
Yeah,
it's
it's very
really
cool.
weird. It's weird to have it being like restreamed and stuff. I don't know. I love it. But yeah, so coming up next in the tournament, we have more round one action. Tomorrow.
We have a lot of round one action tomorrow.
Yeah. We have a lot of round like this weekend is gonna be absolutely packed. Tomorrow we've got Tucker Little Rat versus Diego from the Spanish Restream. Jay Tattles will be there too. And that is tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern. It is a two-way race between Tucker and Diego. Jay Tattles was also in a two-way race, but the opponent unfortunately had to drop from the tournament. So JT is going to be there basically getting a time. So thank you to Tucker and Diego for agreeing to that circumstance. And then a few hours later, we're going to have Randall Eats Cheese against Poketax against Burner. That's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then finally, for all of you DGens out there or other time zone folks, at 11 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Ergote against Headbob against Razor. So definitely all exciting. They all should be on this channel here, Pokemon Speedruns TV. There's a chance, depending on how long the first race goes, that the second one will have to get bumped to either time or to the second Pokemon Speedruns TV channel. But we'll make sure to post in the Discord regarding that. And then otherwise, I think that's all we've got. Anyone have anything else they want to say before we sign off?
You all are cool. Thank you for being here and for watching, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the tournament as well.
Yep, absolutely. We're only 3 races in, and we have a lot to go. So be sure to stick around and catch them, because I expect this one was fantastic, and I think they're only going to continue to get it better as we move on to future rounds.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, have a good one.